Are you going to jump on your motorcycle and enjoy the ride there, or load up the truck and order a latte to get where you're going?
I'm going to enjoy the ride there.
So, are you more into the journey or the destination?
It's all about the journey.
The better flat destination, Florida or Indiana?
Indiana.
You want to set a scenic or a technical route?
Oh, as technical as possible.
And finally, Drew, the better place to stop for the night. Do you want a scenic view to look out at, or do you want a town to walk to a restaurant, a bar, and some nightlife?
Scenic view, tent and a babbling brook every time. Welcome to Moto Adventure Unscripted, a weekly podcast about motorcycles, travel, outdoors, and adventure. I'm your host, Drew Faulkner, and Mark joins me today as we unpack what are the best motorcycle destinations here on the East Coast. As usual, we want to hear from you, the listeners. Hit us with emails, moto80vr@gmail.com, or more importantly, leave comments here on Spotify. Let us know, are there places that we missed out on, other details and whatnot? We want to hear them. If you're really enjoying the show, please share it with a friend. Wherever you're listening, grab your beverage of choice, turn it up. We hope you enjoy the show. What are the best motorcycle destinations on the East Coast? Are you and I qualified to answer that? I guess we're about to find out.
Yeah, I have to believe that we are. If qualified means knowledgeable in this case, probably more qualified to talk about this than anything else in the world that we're qualified for.
Fair enough.
I don't want to oversell it.
No, I think it'll be interesting. We'll get into the details for that. But, dude, we have this huge thank you to the listeners. Like, we've asked folks to leave comments, and you folks have responded, and it has been incredible. I can't thank you enough.
Yeah, you guys have totally delivered on leaving comments for us. Definitely mimic Drew's opinion there.
I tried to answer as many as possible, and there were a few out there that I'm afraid we missed, but I kind of wanted to address some of them on the show if we didn't get a chance to do it there. So we want to thank everybody for that. I think we're going to do best 10 since we've been on before. And do us a favor, leave us another comment. Like, should we do a listeners comment episode, like dedicated show, or do you like just hearing the odds and ends on the front end? Because if this volume keeps up, we're going to have to make a decision on the best way to present that to everybody. Because you guys have been overwhelmingly awesome. So I appreciate
killing it.
So why don't you lead, sir? What was one of your favorite comments?
Well, one of my favorite comments was from Aaron Ward about the tires episode, because he solved the age-old question of how do you pronounce Motaz, which I know now is Motaz, not Moto Z, because according to Aaron, it's Australia, hence the Oz, Motaz. I don't know if that's right or not. I don't even know where Aaron Ward is from. He may be Australian, he may be Canadian, I don't know. But thank you, Aaron. I will now forever, going forward, say Motaz.
I've copied Kyle Bradshaw all this time, right or wrong. That's what I've been doing. So,
gotcha.
My apologies on that one.
It's a good guy to copy, by the way. So I think you're okay.
Yeah, I've got from the Dual Sport Motorcycle Shootout episode, Jaron Smith commented just recently. 500s don't need oil changes as often as you stated. The guys with 500 plus hours on their bikes change it every 1,000 to 1,500 miles, sometimes longer on huge adventure rides. Plenty of people have gone around the world getting 1,000 plus hours or 30,000 miles without having any engine work. Even the valves are still in spec and don't need adjusting, and some other points on there. I thanked Jaron for that comment because I think we've talked about Round the World Paul on the show before. He's ridden around the world on a 500. And I'm glad that he mentions that the 500 has an excellent reputation for reliability despite having dirt bike and race bike, we'll say specs. At the same time, like for the listener's benefit, like, hey, it's one of those problems. Like if you're a very experienced mechanic and you understand how bikes behave when things get a little bit out of whack, and you take care of air filters and all that good stuff, yeah, no problem. The catch is, if the manual says change the oil every 30 engine hours, and it says change, I think I sent you the spec, like the new 2025 500 says you need to, every 90 engine hours, you need to do an entire engine overhaul and change the timing chain and the valves and the piston and all other stuff. Like, how do you know when to do that if you're on this other, trip? So I'm like, hey, it is an incredible bike. It can be used for that. But as you can hair scramble a Triumph Scrambler, but that doesn't make it a race bike. It was the same situation where it's like, hey, KTM 500, absolutely, can make a great adventure bike, but you have to know what you're doing, and it wasn't necessarily intended for that, so it's hard for me to introduce people to that. So anyway, that's all
fair points from you both.
Yeah, no, so keep it in mind, people. What else you got?
Keep it in mind. Keep it in mind, people. I got Jim again from the tire episode. That was a very thorough discussion, which I believe is the understatement of the year, Jim, especially for a subject where the answer to any question usually starts with, quote, "It depends," quote. And I think that should have been the actual name of the episode. It depends. It just depends on so many variables. I think Jim completely nailed it. I loved that comment.
I hope we present topics that way, that I have strong opinions for sure, but ultimately I want people to have, I always say it, smiles per mile, man, smiles per dollar. That's what I think your metric should be. So,
yep, absolutely.
I don't know if you've ever heard of this guy. On episode 139, Motorcycle Changes Coming to 2026, Steven Sharons commented, while companies like Slate are going the route of using your phone for their dashboard, every other auto manufacturer is getting rid of CarPlay and Android and forcing you to use some version of their software, and they're making it almost impossible to mirror your phone now. That is good info, because we were talking about the CarPlay ride and all that stuff. And it is a serious pain in the butt that these manufacturers are doing something that they're clearly not good at. So.
Imagine that. I'm going back to the Dual Sport Adventure helmet shootout, and Ms. Alexis Strickler had a nice comment about scoring a Hornet X2 off eBay. She used it for 4 hours so far. She's never had a nice helmet and nervous about the weight now that we're mentioning it. And she followed up by saying, "But I think I'm a young Drew. I have a strong neck." To which my reply was, hilariously, I call myself an old Drew. So we've got the entire Drew spectrum covered. But let me just say, Alexis, you don't have to take everything we're saying as Bible. Okay, specs say it's a heavy helmet specs wise, but there's a lot of other variables that go into it, including your windshield and does it actually lift the helmet a little bit, maybe in reducing some of that weight. So it's a fine helmet. Be happy with your purchase and ride on. That shoey's going to last you for the next 5 to 10 years if you take care of it. So appreciate that.
Yep, definitely a relative thing. Great point. Got Jay Storm on how to choose new motorcycle tires. Jay says, "I can't imagine balancing with a rim lock." For whatever it's worth, I think I have 2-ounce spoke weights. They're the big copper monsters. Maybe they're 4 or 6 ounces. I don't remember what they are, but they're the biggest you can get, and I have about 5 of them. And I also have the Motion Pro, there's a name for them, but they're like their ultralight rim locks. They're like 100% plastic with like super light aluminum threads and
nice
nuts that go on there. Anyway, so I usually only use 2 spoke weights. So it's really not that big a deal, but yeah, you do have to put some heavy ones on there. So there's that.
Or just run a second rim lock.
If you drill it, theoretically, right? Yeah.
Yep.
One's a pain in the butt enough. What else you got?
D-Swig in the tire episode runs the same Motaz Adventure rear and Anarchy Wild front that I run on my bikes. D runs them on the 1250 GSA and loves them. Agree with the thoughts about the Motaz Dual Venture as well. So terrifying for the first 800-ish miles, got better as it wore out, but was never really great. So good to see somebody else back up my claims that the Motaz rear and the Anarchy Wild front's a legit combo. So appreciate that, D.
I saw that like all over the internet after you said it. So I'm not sure if you changed my attention or if it's just timing coincidence.
Or if I changed the entire internet's mind at one time.
Yeah. Motorcycle changes coming in 2026 episode. K Watts 90. I'm excited about the KLE 500, and I was waiting on y'all to mention it. I'm going to have to sell my 2015 CRF 250L that I've had since new to get one, though. Only have room for one bike in the garage, and I want more power and ABS for the street. So I think, we got the new Moto Marini. Has got a 450 out of the CF Moto Ibex 450. Like I really think that there's a lot going on in this space. So hopefully we'll get a chance to do a podcast on that. And I do apologize. I'm doing this live. I did have a text or an email. Somebody was asking me specifically about bikes and was hoping we would do a podcast about that. And we want to. So we just got to get some stuff out of the way first.
We're going to have to get a ride on that KLE 500 when it comes out, dude, because that's just going to have to happen.
Yep. No, I'm soaked. What else you got?
Last thing I've got is from CD Davis 102, who left a nice long comment about the pros and cons of the LS2 Pioneer and the Bell MX9 Adventure. And really to sum up a nice long comment that CD Davis left, at the end of it, the big takeaway that I got is that this person bought both of these helmets for under $100 each on clearance.
That's awesome.
Which I was impressed with. I had no idea you could buy those helmets for less than $100 on clearance. So, I definitely appreciate that, and great feedback there from CD Davis 102.
You and I have talked about doing an episode on buying used bikes and stuff like that, because the deals right now everywhere are starting to get pretty awesome. And that's the thing. If you're holding on to cash and you're patient and you know where to look, man, you can score some awesome deals on a lot of motorcycles, motorcycle gear, all that stuff.
Yep.
All right, let's go around here. B. Geisman. I have a set of Tusk D-Sport tires on my 650L. I like the rear, not sold on the front. What are your thoughts on the best options to consider for the front? I typically trailer where I'm riding and spend most of my time on the gravel, dirt, and mud here in Ohio, only on the asphalt as needed. The next off-road area. Curious what your thoughts are on all that stuff. And that was actually, I don't know if I replied to that one a whole lot. Obviously, I love the D-Sport, but I do a lot of 50-50. I would have recommended the RC TR8 as it's flippable, and I think I mentioned that in the episode. But if you're mostly on the dirt, I would probably lean more toward Shinko MX 216 because it's a very great dirt tire. I raced with it, and it's DOT if you want to keep DOT. I think I talked about it in the episode, in fact, and I also think that there's some pros and cons to that. It's a very hard tire, so you have to be careful with it on wet pavement. And so the knobs do great in the clay, but if you're on the rocks in the rain, that's kind of a pain. That's the toughest part about living here in this part of the country, is that just about wherever you go off-road, you have advantages and disadvantages based on the way they build tires.
Yep. Agree.
That was a lot, but we appreciate it. So
I love it.
Thanks for staying with us there. Best motorcycle destinations on the East Coast. How do you want to try to break this down for the listeners?
Well, dude, in my opinion, first of all, we need to define East Coast, right?
Okay.
And you and I have decided that East Coast is anything east of the Mississippi being fair game, correct?
Yeah.
So don't just think that we're going up and down some of the coastal states or anything like this. This covers anything east of the Mississippi. Best way to break this down, I mean, we've kind of talked about this a little bit, but I kind of a fan of just picking a random state and going for it.
Okay.
We're going to talk about some adventure routes, some dual sport routes, some 100% street routes, right? I think we've got a little bit of everything in here, so you should be able to plan your entire spring, summer, fall, and winter based on this one episode.
It's and I'm gonna lead out right away, right? We are undoubtedly going to miss diamonds, right? Like it's gonna happen, folks. So, like as usual, hit us in the comments. Like get on Spotify, let us know. Like if we say something awesome, tell us another adjacent awesome road that's on there. And if we missed a diamond somewhere, please tell us about it. And I think I have a few things where I plan on getting into the weeds because they are diamonds that I think you shouldn't miss if you happen to be in that area. Certainly I'm going to mention things that people are not going to remember at all. But yeah, if you're in a place where you can listen, I'm going to recommend that you grab a pencil because I'm going to hit you with a few details like, hey, if you end up in this area, and I have no doubt to some of these, people have probably been to those places, and I have a friend, like, You've been there 3 times, dude, and you've never asked me. Like, you're missing out on one of the best spots down there. So
yeah,
we'll
that's totally right. You know, and like Drew lives in Kentucky and I live in Georgia, and like we've both done a fair bit of traveling throughout the region. But for example, I've never really ridden in New York.
Yeah.
So, you know, I got a couple things on my list, but if you live in New York, don't feel, you know, oh man, they didn't pay attention to my state. Instead, like Drew said, send us a comment, let us know some badass place we need to go to in New York, or what, you know, whatever state, you know, we missed. So, yeah.
For the record, my soul lives in Kentucky, but my body is exiled in Ohio.
I know. I'm sorry. I always think you live in Kentucky, and I know better.
Everyone
I
thinks
visited
that
your
including me.
house. Yeah, right. Exactly. Where are you, Drew? Kentucky? No, man, you're in Dayton, brother.
It's the desktop on my computer at work. 100% that's the case.
That's
All right,
hilarious.
sir. You want to kick this off, and let's see if we can have some order and interest to this conversation.
Some order and interest. Well, sure, man. I'm going to start with the simplest place that I know because I live in Georgia, so I'm just going to roll with locations in Georgia. You ever been to Georgia?
I have ridden one of the roads I'm going to talk about all the way into Georgia, as a matter of fact.
Heck
I bet
yeah,
you can
man.
guess which one it is, too.
I might be able to take a stab at that, but
Actually, remind me, was it Blood Mountain? Is that the highest point in Georgia?
Brasstown Bald.
I've been there.
Yeah, Brasstown Bald, but it's not far from Blood Mountain. That's probably a 30-minute, probably less
Actually,
than
I
that
think
motorcycle ride.
I think I lied to you. I think I've been to South Carolina's highest point, but yes, Brasstown Bald. That's right. Sorry.
Yep. Yeah,
Derailed already.
and that didn't make my list. So Brasstown Bald, add that to your list, everybody. But my first point in Georgia is my stomping grounds, which is the Chattahoochee National Forest, and it is a huge national forest. I don't know exactly how big it is. I don't have specs on that, but you can ride almost across the entire state of Georgia from Alabama to North Carolina, South Carolina, and hardly ever get out of the Chattahoochee National Forest really at all. There's a couple sections to it where it kind of skips around, but you also have the Cohuttas on the west side. So between those two forests, you can do a ton of dual sport riding and a lot of adventure riding for sure. And there's various towns you can base out of. Matter of fact, the Chattahoochee BDRX, Backcountry Discovery Route X, I don't really know what the X stands for, extreme.
I'll explain it. Go ahead.
Please do, yeah. But the Chattahoochee BDRX was released, last year or the year before that, something like that, and it's become a really popular BDR route for people to hit.
Yeah.
And, there's street riding, dirt riding, adventure riding, dual sport riding, you name it, we got it.
For listeners' benefit, if I remember correctly, BDRX versus BDR. BDR is designed to be a through route, meaning that you never see the same place twice. Right. BDRX is supposed to be set up as a loop and more like expedite, so that you can do it in a shorter amount of time and usually come back to the same spot. So it's if you don't have an entire week or more to go on a full BDR experience, you can go do a BDRX and usually get some of it done, maybe even in a weekend or maybe even in a day. So that's the intention there. Okay,
gotcha. Yeah, I knew that was kind of the intention, but I never really figured out how to tie the X into it. So good stuff, man.
Dude, I have a list here, so I'm trying to figure out how to do this the right way. I'm going to lead with the obvious one, and we talk about it a lot on the show. I think Deals Gap, North Carolina, is probably the mecca, especially East Coast, especially asphalt riders. Ironically, I didn't talk about the adventure riding that's there, so we can unpack some of that if you want to. US 129 runs from, what is it, Mayville? Is it Maryville? No, Maysville?
Maryville.
Maryville, yeah. Maryville, Tennessee to what is Deals Gap, North Carolina. That's like, I don't know, 3 miles off the Tennessee line. Basically what they call Tabby Cat Bridge to Deals Gap is, 314 curves and 11 miles or whatever it is. Yep. So it's a must-do. Sadly, for anybody who hasn't been there yet, it's not quite what it once was, because I think when I first started going there, the speed limit was 40. I think it used to be 55. Like it was a legal highway to do whatever, and it's now like 30 miles an hour. the Tennessee State Troopers or whatever, Blount County Sheriff or whatever now has BMW motorcycles and whatnot. So yeah, know now that it is somewhat of a tourist trap, unfortunately. But go during the week.
Yeah.
Find a cabin or whatever it is somewhere. Go stay at what is it? We used to stay at the Iron Horse Lodge for the Triumph Rally there. That is definitely worth seeing. I'm going to tie in some more stuff, and you and I could probably do some back and forth here.
Sure.
What's neat about 129 is it goes all the way through Robbinsville, and it's definitely worth riding through Robbinsville, and then I forget where it dead ends into south of Robbinsville. Like that whole stretch is awesome.
Yeah.
So like everybody talks about Tail of the Dragon, the US 129, that, you know, all the curves in 11 miles, but the actual rest of 129 doesn't have nearly as much traffic on it, and it's a beautiful road. You get to go by several of the TVA dams that are through there. People talk about the Fugitive Dam that's right there, and I can never remember the name of that one.
That is the Chihuahua Dam.
Yep, got me. Good one.
Yep.
So they have that stuff there. But what I actually like the most is North Carolina 28 meets 129 right there at Deals Gap. My friends called 28 until you got to, what's the name of that? Is it 74? It's like North Carolina or US 74 or whatever it is.
I think it's 74, but I can't remember the name,
And bear with us, listeners. I don't have a map up here for even people in video, but a lot of these highways we're going to talk about that I have listed out, the ones you kind of have to pay attention to because they kind of merge into another highway for 5 or 6 miles and then break off again. And usually the part on the other highway is not that great. Yeah. But to me, 28 from 74 down into Franklin, North Carolina, that might be my favorite paved road down there.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many good roads right there. 28 is a gem, and if you ride it, not to cut you off, but if you ride 28 to the east, so west to east, you're riding along on the same side of the road as the river is. So you get a great view of the river for that first stretch of 28. It's just a great road. Doesn't matter what kind of bike you're on. The pavement is unbelievable. You could be on a Goldwing, a Cruiser, a GS, a KTM, whatever. It's great.
I mean, that's the thing, right? When you ride Tail of the Dragon, if you're on a big bike taking it easy, 30 miles an hour is probably reasonable. I'm pretty comfortable doing 40 easy on, an adventure bike. And you can, obviously, the fast guys can do a lot more than that. And that's what makes that road tough. What I like about 28 is the speed limit's high enough that you're not likely to create a lot of trouble. And they're, I think it's 45 or 55. And it's a bunch of like 35 and 25 mile an hour curve warnings and stuff like that. And it seems like they're all, 270 degrees. Like they just seem to go on forever. And it, banks really hard left and then does the exact same thing to the right. And it just snakes along that river forever.
Yeah.
It kind of sucks if you get stuck behind a local that's not in a hurry. But, I had a friend that always said, pickup truck local plates, you better buckle up because they're not going to touch the brake pedal the whole way through.
No, they're not. And there's, you touched on the Chihuahua Dam for a minute. That dam is where they filmed The Fugitive, where Harrison Ford jumped off of it. That's a pretty cool little place to stop and get a picture and that sort of thing. The Fontana Village, the Fontana Dam is very close to that area. That's worth riding through and taking a stop. And my favorite place to stop, so I these days I don't stop. Okay, let me back up. When you get to the basically what we will call the entrance to the Tail of the Dragon, you're at the freaking Tail of the Dragon because Killboy has a store on the left and the Tail of the Dragon store is on the right. And it is like you're entering Disney World, dude. Like there's even a gate to the Dragon right there that, for adverse conditions for them to close it off.
That's
so
true.
You're literally like an admission to a theme park, right? And there's always some jackwagon wheeling a Grom through the entrance or something. You see the Tree of Shame. Like if you've never been, you have to stop at that store and check out the Tree of Shame and get your picture and go buy a Made in China sticker and, go walk over to Killboy. If you don't know who Killboy is, didn't you have him on an episode?
Killboy has been on the show. Daryl Cannon. Go back and look that up.
Yep. So he takes your picture, I mean, it's literally like you're on a roller coaster at Disney World getting your picture taken. But what I really love, I don't hardly stop at that store anymore at all. I like I don't know how to say it, Tapoco or Tapoco Lodge.
Leave us a
love
message.
that
Let us
place.
know which is it.
Please do. Have you ever been to the Tepoco?
That's on 129,
Tepoco
right?
Lodge? Yes, it is.
No, I have. The pizza there's killer.
Oh, dude, it's so good.
It's really good. It's worth staying there. I've had some friends that stay there. They've got some pretty awesome parking. We've parked in like an awning on a rainy day and gone over there and gotten pizza. I think you've told a story about laying in the creek there before, if I remember correctly.
Oh no, not me. I haven't laid in the creek there because every time I'm there, it seems like the water's rushing through there.
I've heard stories.
Yeah, I have laid in the creek further up the road, which we'll talk about in a little while. But the that place you talked about, that awning. What I love is they have plugs out there when you park your bikes under a covered awning. Like they have motorcycle parking under this like giant long carport.
Yeah.
They have plugs in there, so you can just plug your cardo in, park your bike under. You know, in the summertime, it's great because you're in the shade and all that. Go in there, get yourself some food, hang out by the river, and come back and go. That lodge is awesome.
You know, the older I get, the less that I want to be in busy places. But for you, you're more of a like people watcher most of the time. I know you've seen this rodeo many times already, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, like if you're a people watcher, dude, just go up to the Deals Gap General Store, man. Go inside, get your sticker, get a sandwich and some fries. Go out to the bike and just watch. Like especially on a Saturday. I mean, again, there are risks to riding the Dragon, and maybe we should talk about a couple of those. But like, yeah, there's so much people watching to be done. It's ridiculous.
There's a lot of people, man, for sure. It's a good, nice weekend in the spring. I mean, when the people first start coming out, it's chaos, dude. But really, the biggest warning is that it's a curvy road. It's also amateur hour, dude. You got people coming from all over the world to the tail of the Dragon. And frankly, some of them have no business being up there on these roads. I mean, there's an entire website devoted to just people screwing up on the Dragon, running off the road, truckers coming across that road, which they're not supposed to do, but their GPS routes them over it anyway. There's a heavy police presence, like keeping the speeds down and trying to keep some sort of like law and order in the whole thing. But it's you got sport bikes that have zero patience because they're just trying to make the best lap time they can. It's all they do is run up and down that damn thing all day. So it's crazy town, dude. I agree with you. Hit it on a Wednesday. You'll be much happier. If your goal is to ride it on a Wednesday.
Yeah, Saturdays is just bonkers. Like the Friday and Saturday is just everybody's coming to town, and it's quasi racetrack, and that's why the cops have become what they are down there. The biggest thing is like ride right and leave enough skill in the tank, not for you, but because there's a gold wing or a squid coming around the corner hot that you're gonna have to make it. You're gonna have to turn a bad situation into a marginally better situation because of somebody else. That's the biggest issue down there. Is people blow the turn, then they're coming into your lane, and what do you do? So it's one thing that you screwed up. It's something else that you have to defend yourself from someone else. Killboy has posted tons of pictures of mid curve collisions that are head on and whatnot. It's not good.
Yep. It's pretty crazy, man. But yeah, I'm sure everybody knows the Dragon. So
good point.
Beat that horse.
Yep, good point. What do you want to lead with?
Man, if you don't mind, I'll tail off of the tail of the Dragon a little bit. And there's a road on the north end of the Dragon that I love that is much more calm, called the Foothills Parkway. Are you familiar?
I've actually never been, but I'm aware of what it is.
Okay, so it's when you get to the north end of the Dragon and you get into Tennessee, there is a road that shoots north. So you take a right, and it is called the Foothills Parkway, and it basically it kind of ends nowhere, to be honest with you. You get off of the thing, and it's like, what the heck do we do now?
Yeah.
But basically it ends in like the Pigeon Forge Gatlinburg area. It's like it dumps you out into almost a really busy area in peak season. But the road, the Foothills Parkway, it's more sweeping curves. It's not as technical as the Dragon. There's some really nice overlooks. It's nowhere near as busy as 129 is. But my favorite part about it is you get to the end of it, you get over to Gatlinburg, and you get down into Cades Cove.
Yeah.
Have you heard of Cades Cove?
Yeah.
So Cades Cove is like It's basically an in and out sort of thing, unless you're on a dual sport or adventure bike and you time it right. But you go into Cades Cove, and it's this big, giant scenic valley. There are elk down there. There are bear down there. There's like crazy amounts of deer and stuff down there. And it's basically like this giant grassy plain surrounded on all sides by mountains.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I don't know if a meteor hit it or whatever, but it's an amazing place. Now,
it's a non-zero chance that that's the case, right? That is how Cumberland Gap was made, right?
Yeah,
that's what they claim anyway.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, I assume that's the case. But it, dude, if you go in there, me and my brother rode in there one time in the late spring, going into early summer, on a weekend, and we were dumb. It was so busy that we were like afraid of burning our clutches up. We had to take a bail out and turn around and say, screw this, and get back out of there. Because the traffic, oh my God, if there's a bear in that pasture, forget about it. Everybody's stopping. There's a line of 50 cars just stopping to look at a bear or a deer or something.
Yeah.
You're like, really? But for me, the crown jewel of Cades Cove is the exit south. Parsons Branch is a dual sport route, a one-way dirt road with a couple of little creek crossings on it that brings you all the way back down to 129. So then you can jump back on the Dragon and head back into Robbinsville. So if you're up for a big day, you go hit the Dragon, you go north to Foothills Parkway, you go into Cades Cove, you hit Parsons Branch, which, by the way, you got to figure out if Parsons Branch is open or not. Sometimes it's gated, so do your homework.
Somehow we mentioned this on the podcast at one other point because it's familiar to me, but yeah, it's a pain in the butt.
Yeah, we have. But you jump onto that into the Dragon, and then you can ride the Dragon back into Robbinsville. So that's a fantastic loop. I love it.
Not to be missed and related to that, I'm going to mention Way Road.
Ooh, that's a good one. I can't believe I didn't think of Way Road.
This is for all listeners. If you are making a trip to Tail of the Dragon for any reason, as we have suggested already, you probably won't need more than a day to enjoy the key parts of that. Not far beyond that, near Franklin, North Carolina, and Nantahala Lake, is a road called Way Road. If you want immaculate pavement, which I will talk about that here in a minute, that's usually not Way Road. Way is paved, and it's well paved, but it's like textured, right? It's like they've put like grit into it for the winter time to make sure it has a lot of grip. So it has a lot of excellent switchbacks and stuff on it. And the road, I don't think there's a lot of warning signs. It doesn't make a lot of sense. It goes over by the lake, changes elevation a lot. It is an interesting road to ride on. That's a lot of unsuspecting stuff happening, a lot of up and down elevation. Another gem with that is Way Bald. So you need to take, I don't know, what do you think that is? Quarter mile, half mile gravel?
I'm not very good at that kind of thing, but probably quarter mile. Yeah.
It's really not that far. I think it's 2 switchbacks. So there's a turnoff to get up to Way Bald. And so you take that gravel road and go up to the hill, and there's a huge observation tower and a parking lot and like a bathroom and like a picnic table and whatnot. When they had the fires down there, God, that was almost 10 years ago now that I think about it. The fire had come up that side of the mountain, so I actually have some pictures of the burnt out trees and whatnot with all the fog and stuff coming up from the rain. But that's a neat overlook to go see if gravel doesn't bother you. It's definitely worth a trip to go ride that crazy road, and then go take a look at the overlook. There's another paved road now that breaks off of that, and I can't remember the name of it. And I've actually never finished the whole thing, but I want to go do that at some point because that used to be gravel, and I think it is now completely paved. But it ties into that area really nicely. So what I said before about North Carolina 28, coming out of Deals Gap, take that down to Franklin, get lunch at a gas station. I'm not exaggerating. There's an amazing restaurant at the whatever that gas station is in Franklin. And then Cafe Rel is the name of the restaurant, by the way. You would never know it's there had I not mentioned it, so write that down. And then you can take Way Road. Way Road starts to take you back over that way. So, and I think you'll probably hit me with something near, like, whatever, Robbinsville and all that stuff to bring you back.
Well, like 64 north of Waya Road is a pretty good stretch. It goes along the river too, and in the summertime you'll see a ton of rafters going down that road, going down that river. And there's a really great pizza joint that we always stop at. If you take Waya Road and then jump on 64 east and along the river, like halfway back into town, there's the Nantahala Outdoor Center just before you hit
I forgot
the
how good that road is, because there's some neat twists right there by that place,
I love that road, dude. And there's like, I'm going off memory here because this is not anything on a list I have, but there's a pizza joint that we always stop at, and you can buy pizza by the slice, and you sit there on the river and you watch all the people going down the river and all that stuff. It's definitely the move. That's my brother and I's favorite place to stop. And there's a dirt road that I cannot remember the name of right now, but before that pizza joint there's a dirt road on the right that takes you away from the river, and I love it because it follows like a giant water pipe, and you're riding along this water pipe for a while. It's very similar to the water pipes. We're gonna lose people here, but going off like McFarland Road and like some of these like the Alien Landing Pad and some of this other stuff that only locals are gonna know what I'm talking about right now.
So that's not Tellico Gap that you're talking about?
No, it's something different.
Because Tellico Gap,
remember the name.
Yeah, Tellico Gap runs in the Waya Road, and that would have been on my list of some of the adventure stuff to do.
Yeah, man, I can't remember the name of it. Sometimes it's gated too. It's you got to hit it when the timing is right, kind of thing. But yeah, that's dude, you just can't go wrong. I love this area so much.
No, you got another one, don't you?
Of course I do. Yeah, because we can't be in that area without also talking about the obvious Cherahalla Skyway.
Oh yeah.
And that goes with a few different caveats to it as well, because the Cherahalla Skyway will bring you from that Dragon area west back over to Tellico Plains, Tennessee. It is a phenomenal road, and it's not as there's a couple turns you got to be careful of, some decreasing radius turns that'll sneak up on you, especially on the North Carolina side. But man, some of the overlooks are phenomenal, especially in the wintertime when there's no leaves on the trees and you can really see, across some of these overlooks. It brings you into Tellico Plains, Tennessee, which is kind of a sleepy little town there. I always feel like they're trying to do something, but they're not quite, there yet, sort of thing.
Of it. Robbinsville and Tellico are nice. If you don't like all the hustle and bustle going on at the Gap, and then you go into Robbinsville, you're like, oh yeah, this is my jam here. It's nice and chill.
Yeah.
I meant Tellico, but same story.
Yeah, Tellico, totally. Yeah, Tellico. I would way rather stay in Tellico Plains than Robbinsville, but that's just me. But Tellico Plains, for people that don't know, first of all, you think that it's going to be like higher up in elevation. It's lower in elevation than Atlanta is. So it actually, in the summertime, it's brutally hot in Tellico Plains. It's so hot I don't even go there in the summertime. I mean, last time we went there in the summer, that's where we were talking about just laying down in the river. Because it was so flippin' hot, we just like bought some lunch beers and sat in the river and like hung out for like 2 hours in the middle of the day while it was too hot to ride. So there's a really good bed and breakfast in town, which I can't remember the name of, but it's on that Southeast BDR video, as a matter of fact. And we always stay at a campground off of 319 and Reliance Road, the Cherahalla campground. It used to be the motorcycle campground, but they've opened it up to everybody now. So, the Cherahalla Skyway is fantastic. It's pavement. It goes up and over the state line. But the real gem is the dirt Skyway.
I was going to say, I'm going to tie
Gravel Holla. Yeah, please. I'll let you take that over, but it has to be mentioned. We can't skip that.
Well, let me, to prep listeners that have never been there before, you cross the state border on the Skyway.
Right.
And the pavement changes.
It does.
Historically speaking, the North Carolina side is this like immaculate pavement, and you need to be careful on it because it can be slippery. We were on it a couple times right after they paved it, man, and it was still oily. It scared the crap out of me.
Yeah.
Tennessee tends to be more of the way I described Waya Road, that it tends to be a little bit more texture. So I trust it to keep grip a little bit more. But yeah, that comes with its own caveats, right? If you've got super sticky tires, it's probably going to eat them up faster, right?
Yeah.
To your point, that's the other thing is it invites you to go fast. Like the curves are pretty predictable until they're not. Like there are warnings for them, but I think they sneak up on you because everything's like 45-mile-an-hour warnings forever, and then there's a 25, and everything.
Yeah.
The road is so wide that it's like you think you have a lot more space than you really do.
That's a great point about being wide. It's not a narrow little road like Wire Road.
Yeah.
It's a proper road. They poured some money into this road.
100%. Yeah, I mean, I know many friends that break triple digits on the Skyway. Like it's and the other thing is weather.
Oh God, yeah, great point.
I know so many stories that, you know, it's raining, and it's not raining in Tellico, but it's raining once you get, you know, across the North Carolina line on the other side of the mountain.
Or snowing.
Yeah, like I've you know, we were there a couple days after a hurricane went through, and we're like, oh, we're just gonna go ride the Skyway. Everything's fine here in Robbinsville, and we get up there, and you know, it's leaves and crazy stuff everywhere. So that kind of stuff happens.
Yeah.
Temperature, storms, hail, rain at what, 4,000 feet, 3,600
Something
feet.
like that.
Yeah, rain at that elevation in the fall is extremely cold. So just know now that pay attention to the weather stuff, and pack a rain jacket, because things go sideways literally quite quickly up there.
Yeah.
Man, I wish I could remember, because I wrote down Gravel Halo, because that's what you and I call it, and we're going to do a disservice because there are names to those roads. You know, it's like
I don't know any of the real names.
Yeah,
if you Google Dirt Skyway or Gravel Hollow, you'll come across it.
Yeah, so out of Robbinsville, when you start to head south, well, I guess it's west actually, across the Skyway, there's like a side street. Like you literally like take a short little jog. You know, it's like a parking lot, and boom, you're on a gravel road. So that's a North Carolina. Yeah, so there's a North Carolina state route that is a gravel road that runs underneath the Skyway, and then you kind of come to a T, and you can actually get back up on the Skyway midpoint, right near the state line if you want. So if you're on an adventure bike, it's kind of cool because you can run. You know, you can run the pavement on the fun side that you like better, and then you can go run the gravel on the other side if you want to.
It's phenomenal.
And the other thing I like is there's a couple different ways out of Gravel Halo. I really want to know. Actually, I haven't looked it up if one of them's legal, but there's a couple balds that are up that way too. I got a great picture of my bike up on just some random grass hilltop that you can pull off onto. And then as you're coming back around, and I'm sorry, the roads changed names a couple times through there, that you can go see, was it Bald Rock Falls? Is that the name of it?
Yep, Bald Rock Falls.
Bald River Falls. I think it's
Bald River Falls. That's it.
Bald River Falls are on the bottom end there. That's a great picture spot. You can they got a brand new bridge there. I just saw pictures of that the other day. They widened the bridge. Yeah, because before you had to be careful going through there because people aren't paying attention.
On the side of the road.
Well, not just that, but like the bridge is not really wide enough for a car and almost people to walk across, if I remember correctly, back in the day.
Yep.
So like
it's changed now.
Yeah, if you're not paying attention, you don't realize that a bunch of people are actually walking across there, and it's somewhat of a disaster as far as traffic is concerned. I'm like looking down at my map going, can I remember the name of that road? But
now it's a totally legit parking area now, so you don't have to worry about that problem anymore. Stop and take your picture and all that good stuff.
That one is very conveniently named River Road, so that's an easy one. But I can't remember of the name of the they're like numbered names for Tennessee.
That's impossible.
Do consult your map. I can point them out to you if you send me an email or whatever. We'll get GPX Traction. I'm sure Mark would do the same.
Sure.
Yeah, but there's a couple like unmarked T's in the gravel road. Usually you'll run into a dead end or a sign if you make a wrong turn, so you'll figure out a way to get back down from the top. But yeah, it definitely helps to have some GPX tracks there. But I mean, I think I've said that on the show before. I've got friends that are like, all right, we're going to go from Robbinsville and we're going to go get lunch in Tellico. And I just rode the gravel, so that's fine. I'll meet you there.
Yeah, man, it's the Gravel Hollow, the Dirt Skyway. It's a lot of fun, and one of the best times I ever had. My brother and I camped on Lake Santitla in North Carolina, and so it's kind of funny. It's a dry county. You can't go buy whiskey there, so we didn't have any whiskey with us. So we're not drinking. Well, let's go for a night ride. We never do that. Let's go. So we jumped on the Dirt Skyway at night. Rode that thing onto the Skyway, jumped on the Skyway at night, and got to a bald and just overlooked the entire everything below us with the lights of the towns below us. It's freaking awesome, dude. It was amazing.
Yeah, I did. I should have mentioned this earlier because we're talking about Tellico Plains. That is where March Moto Madness is held.
Oh, yeah.
So folks are thinking about doing March Moto Madness at some point. All of the information we just gave you is pretty relevant because, if the weather's not good or whatever else it is, there's some perks to riding some of the asphalt that way. So, that.
I'll add this. There's a great street loop that I love. I've spent so much time in Tellico Plains. If you come off the Skyway into Tellico, head north just like a quarter mile and go out west on 315, bring that over to 315 down Reliance Road, brings you back all the way back down to the river, and there's a nice little country store where they have like a 2-pump situation for gas, and that's on the BDR as well. But you stop in there, fill up, get a little sandwich or what have you. It's an awesome bridge you drive over this huge river on the Ocoee River, I think it is, and then ride 30 back into like Copper Hill, Tennessee, McKaysville, Georgia, twin sister towns, and then ride 68 north is a great pavement road all the way back up into Tellico Plains, and that's a fantastic little day loop. And of course, there's all kinds of dual sport and adventure dirt roads in the area, so tons and tons of riding.
Yeah, I have. I think I still have it saved somewhere. I've got a good dual sport route. Well, it's actually an adventure route. I've got a good adventure route down that way. So folks send me an email. I'll see if I can dig that up. They want to ride that. Tellico Gap comes to mind. That's the power lines, though. It's like a power line service road that does a whole bunch of gravel switchbacks up a mountain. That's a fun one on a big bike.
We're not advertising that road.
Okay. I don't know what you're talking about. What else you got, man?
So I got to bounce back to North Carolina just for a second while we're still in the vicinity.
I got one too, so yeah.
Sweet, dude. I wonder if it's the same one. I've got to ride 209 from Lake Junaluska up through this town called Trust, where there's a pretty cool little general store there, all the way into Hot Springs, North Carolina.
That's a good one.
Have you ever been in that area?
I have done portions of that ride. I don't think I've done every part of it, so my reply to you is going to be excellent.
Awesome, dude. I love it. I add on to it. But 209, like, there's not a whole ton to wax poetic here. It's one of the best curvy roads in the state as far as I'm concerned. And you run it from south to north. Oh, my God, dude. It's just joy the entire time. And there's hardly any traffic. It's not like one of these, I think they might call it the Snake or something like that, but it's not a heavily trafficked thing whatsoever. I love having the Trust General Store in the middle of it, so you can stop, get some gas, pop off and grab a snack or something like that for a little while, and you get into Hot Springs, and it's a sleepy little town. All that said, I'm not sure what the status is on this because Hot Springs was hit heavily in Hurricane Helene, and I'm not sure where things are at this point in time, but I love that route, and I love Hot Springs, North Carolina.
Right in that area, and this is one of those write it down listeners, dead serious. If you like twisty paved roads, after 28, I actually think North Carolina 281 is my number one favorite. So if you're going to ride in that Waynesville, Brevard area, North Carolina 281, North Carolina 215, and North Carolina 276 are absolute killers. And then look up Charlie's Creek and watch out for your taillight.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So at Charlie's Creek in North Carolina.
Charlie's Creek Road connects 281 to 215, if my memory serves.
Gotcha,
it runs in between 281 or 205 or something like that.
Gotcha.
We went that way by accident one day, and we couldn't stop going that way. Like it had a couple of those places where how you'll be going kind of in a straight line, and there's like a power line break through the trees, and you think the road goes straight.
Oh, yeah.
It actually is making a 90-degree left going down a hairpin. So the power lines are just going straight down the mountainside. Yeah, we cooked a lot of corners. All of us had good scares.
I bet so, man. I bet so. Not to be confused with Charlie's Creek in Georgia, which is very popular but completely different.
No, this is the road I mentioned. Charlie's Creek has two names, so it depends on which side of it you're actually looking for. But that was a local thing that we ran into. That whole area is full of amazing stuff, so you can just get lost and have a good time. But yeah, 281, 215, 276, that area. And then if you go into Brevard, if I remember correctly, that's where Oscar Blues Brewery is. We would ride 281.
Brevard's great.
Way. Yeah, to go get Oscar Blues Brewery, go upstairs, try some craft beer. Don't get ridiculous because you're on a motorcycle. They have a food truck outside a lot, so I got to be Lord of the street food and do that whole thing. But yeah,
Lord of the street food.
That's my thing, man. I love street food. I had
I hear
street food over the weekend. But yeah, 281, man. I absolutely love that road.
Heck yeah. Yeah, it's obviously, you guys can tell we love the area. I mean, mile per mile, I think that area of western North Carolina, eastern Tennessee and western North Carolina, oh man, that's just the best ride in the country.
If we're talking about the best places to ride, like there's so much gold in that particular area that I feel remiss to not talk about it.
Mile per mile for sure, man. All right, dude, I'm going to change it up a little bit unless you have something else kind of in that immediate vicinity.
I have one more vicinity, and then actually I think that there's a certain road that we should take to leave that vicinity.
All right, let's do it.
I'm going to mention, you mentioned Brasstown Bald in Georgia. Yeah. I'm a high pointer kind of guy. I love going to highest points on motorcycles, especially nowadays because they're starting to put up a lot of observatories and stuff, and this place is just like that. Sassafras Mountain is the tallest point in South Carolina. You can get there on US 178. That section of 178 that gets close to the mountain, making that climb up there is excellent. And I actually think they finished the observatory that was under the construction when I saw it last. So you have a chance to get up on a tower essentially and look around more. But yeah, Sassafras Mountain and you mentioned already Brasstown Boulder, not that far apart. You could do a big day ride and you can actually probably see them both.
Oh, you can definitely see them both in a single day. Yeah, absolutely. Sassafras Mountain's a good one. I forgot about that.
Yeah, like I said, you could stay in the North Carolina side-ish of Deals Gap, and in a weekend, maybe 3 or 4 day weekend, you could see all these states. Like you can be in Georgia, North Carolina, Tennessee, and South Carolina all in one weekend and have a really good time.
Yeah. Dude, before you take us out of Tennessee on your road, is your road that you want to talk about take us out of Tennessee?
Oh yeah, it goes all the way to Virginia.
Oh, okay. We're going to skip that for a second. We're going to take a little detour though. We're going on something that not many people know about, and I love this thing. This is a 465-mile driving tour through Tennessee with a focus on the secret city known as Oak Ridge. You familiar with Oak Ridge and what went on there? The atomic weapon development went on in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, right? So I don't want to bore everybody with this entire atomic history, but I am extremely fascinated with atomic history, going all the way to my home here in Dawsonville, Georgia, all the way to Oak Ridge and all across the country. Well, Oak Ridge is where they developed the atomic bomb in a secret city underground. Incredible history. And I love riding around Oak Ridge. There is a route called Top Secret Tennessee. And I stumbled on it by accident on a ride back from the rally that shall not be named, which we're going to talk about in this episode. So I hope that guy's listening. I just came across this little sign, little brown nondescript sign when I was making my route back home one time. And I said, Top Secret Tennessee to the right. What the hell is that? Dude, oh man, it has some absolute gems, and I've not ridden the whole thing, but it brings you on some little 1.5 lane roads, brought me through an ATV park. Now, it never did turn to dirt. I've never seen it turn to dirt, but all kinds of offshoots. I mean, if you were on a Harley, you'd be hard-pressed on this road. It may have been labeled as concrete or asphalt or whatever, but barely, you know what I mean? All along a little creek. There's a railroad, bridge you go under. It goes through Knoxville. It goes through a little town called Wartburg. It goes around Frozen Head State Park, which has some phenomenal riding around that entire area. So Google Maps some of this stuff, and they have their own website, which I forget what it's called. I'm not prepared for that, but Top Secret Tennessee. I know, man.
I think that'll be enough to Google search and get people on.
Oh, it definitely will. I promise you, if you look up Top Secret Tennessee, you're gonna really enjoy it. I've not ridden it all, like I said, but the bits I've been on, I love it, dude. It's really cool, and it's a hidden gem. Like, it's just not. They don't advertise it for whatever reason. I've never seen a single billboard about it. I just stumbled on it, and it remains that way today. So check it out.
I think this is the last one that's in that area.
Take us.
I have another Tennessee one, but it's on the other side of the state. When we were talking about 281, 215, Blue Ridge Parkway runs right through there.
Oh,
So
yes, it
yeah,
does.
from Cherokee all the way up to the Virginia line is Blue Ridge Parkway. I'm sure lots of people have seen this listed on best roads before. Blue Ridge Parkway is kind of cool in that spot that there's just enough on and off ramps with some of the stuff we've mentioned.
Yep.
Even if you stay in that area, you can tie it into some loops. Like I said, some of the roads I just mentioned, I think 215 actually, I think has a direct junction onto it. So we took 215 up to it many times.
Yep.
It's to me, what I like about the Parkway, same thing. Higher speed limits, they're 45. You can enjoy that depending on the bike that you're on and be pretty comfortable. You will get stuck. I mean, I've been stuck behind trike brigades and stuff like that.
It's going to happen.
Yeah,
just take it with a stride and forget about it. Just start looking around, dude. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, pull over at a pull-off stop and enjoy, break out a snack and some other stuff because there will be troopers and stuff up there, so be careful of that. I don't know. It's a federal ticket from what I understand, so know that.
I have a buddy that got a federal, more than one federal ticket. Yeah, you go the speed limit. Don't pass on a double yellow.
The tunnels toward the Cherokee end are awesome. Be smart. Flip up your visor and be careful with sunglasses because a couple of them are long enough that it gets pretty dark in there.
Yeah.
Most of it's 45, and what I like about the Parkway is once you kind of get used to the bend in the road, all the turns are basically the same speed, so it can be somewhat of a relaxing one. Or if you want to roll the dice with the police, you can really hustle on that. But then highest point. It's not highest point on the East Coast. I think that's was it Mount Mitchell or whatever it is.
That's Mount Mitchell, and that's on the Parkway.
Is it on the Parkway? Oh, it's on the northern. That's right. I'm thinking of the highest point of the Parkway. You have to drive up to Mount Mitchell, if I remember correctly. But so you can get access to the highest point on the East Coast while riding Blue Ridge Parkway. I only know the southern end of it that we just talked about. But like I said, you get to take it all the way to Virginia. But you have to kind of plan your route a little bit because there are no gas stations. There are intersections, but I don't even know if there's stop signs on the Parkway.
I don't think there's stop signs. There is one store going up the Parkway, which I'm trying to think of the freaking name of, and it's on the tip of my tongue, and I can't remember what it's called. It's near Little Switzerland, which is a great stopping off point for anybody that wants to get off the Parkway but not really go very far off the Parkway. There's a really good restaurant right there in Little Switzerland, but there is a hotel. Well, let's not call it a hotel. It's like a lodge.
Yeah.
God, I wish I could remember the name of it. It's killing me. But there's a little store right there that you can buy a soda, or they don't have hot food or whatever, but they've got snacks and they've got your stickers and stuff like that. And you can stay at this lodge. But man, you got to make reservations early because it's literally on the Parkway. And you can ride that up that's close to Mount Mitchell. All that's within relatively close striking distance. Man, it's killing me.
It's tough, right? To have all the details about this. I mean, we'd be writing out stuff for hours. And the Blue Ridge Parkway, and I think it's very popular, so you can Google that stuff and find lots of places to check out. But to me, the views on the Parkway are some of the most impressive that you will ever see of mountain ranges on the East Coast. Lots of great stuff on the West Coast that people talk about in the mountain ranges from Colorado and whatnot. And I'm not going to take that away from anybody, but if you're on the East Coast and that's the look that you're looking for, the southern end of the Blue Ridge Parkway is some of the most epic views that you can see. Everything I said about Trailhead Skyway about risks is higher, with exception of the road itself is not so much dangerous as is the weather, because you are at 5,000 feet now. It is. Yeah. It is legit cold up there. I have frozen up there before when we were quite hot at the bottom. So
they'll close sections of that road too. They have sections that are gated. And by the way, came to me. Pisgah Inn is the name of that place.
I just saw that. Wasn't sure if that was the one.
That's the one, man. Yep, that's the one. So, but they'll close sections of the Parkway if it's inclement weather or what have you. But you do have to plan ahead a little bit. My father-in-law, when he retired, he took his Moto Guzzi and he rode the entire Parkway by himself and just camped along. There's motorcycle specific campgrounds off the Parkway. He just grabbed a campground and rode all the way up to the end of it and then came all the way back home. I think he took 2 weeks or something crazy to do it, man. He had a great time.
Yeah, you just sparked another memory that was not in my notes because you can get up to the Bureau of Indian Affairs. There's a gravel road toward the south end of the parkway, and you can get on that, and that has a similar name to like Brasstown. I cannot think of the name of it now. And you can ride a gravel road down from the parkway, kind of like Cherahela, except it's a one-way road that takes you off the parkway. So
I know exactly the road you're talking about. Yeah, I can't remember the name of that either. But yeah, there's dude, the offshoots off of the parkway are incredible too. I mean, the road when you get off Little Switzerland and head southeast off of that road, oh my god, dude, it's phenomenal. You know, it's all kinds of good riding.
It's super popular, so you shouldn't need us to break down that stuff. People have done much better written breakdowns, so Google and check it out. So what else you got,
man?
sir?
Well, at the top end of that road is Skyline Drive, which is not an official part of the Blue Ridge Parkway, but is not to be missed. Like if you're going to ride the Blue Ridge Parkway all the way to its terminus in Virginia, you have to get on Skyline Drive and ride that as well. So I'll be honest, it's not actually one that I've been on, but it's on my list of things to do. I've not ridden the entire parkway yet, so it's on my list, and Skyline Drive will be like a must stop for me.
Yeah, it was when I started doing more day tripping way back when. That was really high on my list at the time, and I want to do more of that. So it's just a matter of time when we can make that work. But I had Skyline Drive on my list as well. I think it's correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's more. I don't think it's quite the same in that the parkway, because it's federal and, there are ramps on and off and whatnot. I don't know if Skyline Drive is broke out exactly the same way.
I don't think so.
I will reply back in another topic that I don't know as much. Natchez Trace Parkway in the western side of Tennessee over toward Nashville. That's like... Is that like 300 plus miles, if I understand correctly? Like
it's a long road. I've never ridden it. I have many friends that have. It's really not high on my list, to be honest with you. This is more of something that's going to interest the cruiser crowd, I believe.
Well, and that's the struggle, right? So for the listeners' benefit, right? That is the thing. Like you and I are, adventure focused people, and for me, technical is more interesting. So there are certainly scenic roads that deserve to be discussed. So horses for courses.
Oh, totally. This is on my list as well. Just FYI. So Natchez Trace Parkway is a must speak about route.
So are we headed north through Appalachia? Is that what we're doing, sir?
You mean Appalachia?
I said it wrong again. Although I heard somebody from West Virginia the other day say Appalachia, so there's that.
I feel like there might be more than one way to pronounce a word here in the world.
This might be a Hatfield and McCoy problem.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I'm glad you mentioned the Hatfield and McCoy because I wasn't going to go here, but I'm going to go there now because you mentioned Hatfield and McCoy. The Hatfield-McCoy Trail system. It's humongous.
Have you been over there?
Yes.
Okay.
Have you?
No, I have friends that go every year, if not twice a year.
Oh, dude. On the adventure bike, just forget about it and turn around and come back off of it.
Yeah.
It is for dirt bikes and four-wheelers and maybe like ATVs.
Side-by-sides are becoming a thing down there now,
Yeah, man. Well, the trail... So I have a few things here on my point list for this. We stayed in Matewan, which is on the West Virginia-Kentucky border, home of the Matewan Massacre. Look it up. I'm not going to teach you a history lesson right now. And also the Hatfield-McCoy feud. So Matewan, West Virginia, it's literally right on that border, and this is, dude, it's on the river. They have like a giant, what do they call it, like a flood wall with floodgates that get shut, like a giant, like they shut the thing off in case of a zombie apocalypse. It's an incredibly interesting place. We stayed with Don and Kathy McCoy, who Don is a direct descendant from the McCoy clan, right?
Yep.
So he rode at the time an F650 GS Dakar, and he brought us on some crazy routes through there, dude. I mean, it's an incredible place. Yeah. The Hatfield McCoy feud, all that area. So get out a map and look that up and go get yourself some history books and check that out. But the Hatfield McCoy trail system is 1,000-mile trail system that has state funding and like backing. This is coal area. As these coal mines have been, shutting down, and right or wrong, that's just what's happening out there. They're trying to make tourism money speak, and it's working because this 1,000 miles of gnarly dirt riding throughout. I mean, some of the craziest riding you could imagine. Like I said, we got the adventure bikes on there. We just turned around. I was like, no way in hell am I doing this. It's incredible.
I'm going to bring us a little further south, but I'm coming back to that area.
All right.
I got a few things. So first, I'm going to do Back of the Dragon.
Yep, Virginia, that's definitely on the list.
Virginia 16 claims to be 300 curves and 32 miles.
Yep.
From Tazewell, Virginia to Marion, Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
I have not ridden that yet, but I did look up some different stuff, and I'm like, oh, wow, that's one that I missed because there's several over that way that I went to on Deals Gap, but I don't think I've done Back of the Dragon yet.
I bet it's gorgeous. It's a great road.
Yeah. So that was one, and then I got a couple others that way. But what else you got that's in that area?
Well, my favorite thing in that area, hands down, all that stuff is great. Skyline Drive is great. Back of the Dragon is great. Matewan is great. I love Burke's Garden. You ever been through Burke's Garden or heard of it? Oh, dude. Oh, my God. Burke's Garden is phenomenal. So you can enter Burke's Garden. This is another one of those areas that, okay, I'm not a historian here, but sure. I believe was caused by another meteor strike, created a huge valley surrounded by mountains all the way around of it. The Amish or Mennonite, I think Amish, have kind of made this a home for themselves. You can take a pavement road in or a dirt road in from opposing directions, right? So if you play your cards right, you can ride a dirt road up.
Yeah.
Stop at the Amish store and get yourself the best sandwich you'll ever have in your entire life. I don't even like bologna, but I'll get their bologna sandwich with like a freaking half-inch thick slice of bologna on there that they made. Get your sandwich, hang out, talk to the people in the store, and then ride the pavement out of there. Dude, Burke's Garden is incredible. If you're in that area, I promise you, it's a must. There's nothing there besides that Amish store. But we'll sit there for an hour and a half and just enjoy the calm nothing going on. It's amazing. I love it there.
It's interesting. For everything that you and I have already covered between North Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, there's another place like that is the Kentucky, Virginia, West Virginia area. That whole section has, again, you can't go wrong. I have a list of favorites and a list of popular ones that I know about that are that area, but it's it just goes on forever. I think before I bounced into Kentucky, my next one on was US 250 between Huttonsville, West Virginia, and Churchville, Virginia, 80 miles.
I'm not familiar.
So for the listeners' benefit, I looked up, what are the best roads on the East Coast, and then truthfully, my guide really is, I use Rever, but Butler Maps. And so Butler Maps has all these roads rated by, what is best or whatnot. And I scroll over into that Virginia, West Virginia area, and I read some stuff on the web as well. Like, what are the best roads? And it was like a list of 50. It's like 80 miles, and a whole section of this stuff is, rated gold on Butler Maps or whatever it is. So yeah, look for US 250 in that area, West Virginia and Virginia.
Sweet.
I'm going to tie one more on to that. West Virginia 15 between Sutton to Valley Head, I think is what I had written down here. Hopefully that's not a stupid spell correct on my phone there. Another situation where it's 65 miles rated gold on Butler Maps. West Virginia's, dude, the pavement there is incredible. No roads make sense. I'm desperate to get back to West Virginia myself. I rode to New River Gorge is awesome. And I created a big elaborate route to leave, and I couldn't remember all of them, and I'm sure some of these tie into that situation. But yeah, West Virginia is another place that it's really hard to go wrong. And like I said, it's that tri-state area that I think the gems that everybody knows that we covered up front, people talk about, you can find it really easy, whereas that area of West Virginia, Kentucky and Virginia it
doesn't get the press.
Yeah, and it's funny because when you look up gold routes on Butler Maps on Rever, there's a ton of them in this area, and it's arguably one of the highest concentrations on the East Coast.
Yeah.
And I'm like, these are like random state roads that no one's talking about. And it's related to, and I'm going to keep going on this, that the way the Appalachian Mountains follow. It's almost like they follow that state line. I know it was the other way around, right? The state lines actually follow the mountains, right? But it's, it's easy to go, northeast or southwest, but it's hard to cross that ridge line. And the roads that go through there have all these switchbacks to cross the way that the mountain range kind of sweeps in that arch as it goes through there.
100%.
Yeah, and I'm going to talk more about that in Kentucky because I know it better, and it's incredible.
Have you ever seen something called the Green Bank Satellite?
Got me again.
Got me too. This isn't something I knew about. Shout out to my buddy Tyler Johnson for this one. Tyler grew up in this area, so he turned me on to something called the Green Bank Satellite, which is a satellite they're using to send signals into space and listen to things in space, like you see out west in the desert on the East Coast.
That's cool,
dude. I looked it up, man. I'm going here, dude. I'm getting Tyler to bring me to this thing. The satellite, Drew. It's freaking larger than 2 football fields, dude. It is humongous, man. That's awesome. It's incredible. And he says the riding around there is awesome as well. So I had to give a shout out to Tyler when I was asking him if he had any ideas for the area. And he right away was like, Green Bank Satellite. I've never heard of it. So, yeah, I'm adding it to my list, my personal list for sure. I don't have much to say about it because I've never been there. But, if anybody has, tell me if it's actually worth going there or if my buddy Tyler's full of crap.
Yeah. So we're still talking coal country here.
Yeah, buddy.
I'm doing this inverse. I know the north to the south to some degree, but not the south to north. Wilkesboro, North Carolina to Big Hill, Kentucky is US 421.
Okay.
This is a little piece for everybody, right? Like, I love super technical stuff. There are a lot of sections in Kentucky with 421 that's incredible. Now, a lot of it's just big sweepers. So if you're on a tour or on a touring bike, that's something worth putting on the list. It's an easy road to follow. It's a pretty popular route. Speed limits are high in most places. Yes, you're going to go through towns and there'll be straight sections and whatnot. But a huge bulk of 421 goes through that area that I was talking about, along with all the way up to McKee, Kentucky. One of the other places I'm going to talk about is right on 421. Like, I ride lots of sections of that on the regular, and I'm like, how far does this go? And I started chasing it down the map, and I'm like, man, this is incredible. It goes on forever. Like, yeah. So I see that like I know it's not Route 66 of the East Coast by any stretch of imagination, but I haven't measured that distance, but I'm like, dude, that's a long way from I-75 in Kentucky all the way to Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Like, that's a lot of miles, and that's a pretty sweet road so far.
Heck yeah.
So I got a bunch more stuff in that area. So what do you got next?
I start to kind of leave some of that area, to be honest with you. I think we'd be amiss if we didn't just kind of put another emphasis on the BDRs. That go through the area.
I'm glad you said that because I think you should.
Yeah, you've got the southeast backcountry discovery route, joins up with what they call the MABDR, the Mid-Atlantic BDR, up into the northeast BDR. And clearly I've not ridden all of these. The southeast I'm familiar with. Some of the MABDR, never hit the northeast one, but it goes through a lot of this area we're talking about. So I just think it's something that people need to be aware of is out there. Like, if you have an interest, you can literally ride from the Gulf of, I'm going to call it Mexico, all the way up to Canada on basically adventure routes. Through these 3 different routes, the entire way south to north across the country. So that's a thing. It's definitely a thing, and it ties a lot of this stuff together. But I felt like it was a good time to mention that for everybody.
We didn't cover it, but we should have. When you and I were talking about Gravel Haley, we should have mentioned Smoky Mountain 500.
100% we should have.
So Chattahoochee BDRX, Smoky Mountain 500, and then since you mentioned MABDR, is it the PA Wilds BDRX? There's a Pennsylvania BDRX.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yep.
So State College, Pennsylvania is a cool area to hang out. There's a lot of Amish country, a lot of gravel roads and whatnot. And then the BDR goes through that area. But yeah, there's a BDRX in Pennsylvania that's definitely worth looking at in that same vein.
Yep, absolutely. But yeah, as for what else I have in that West Virginia area, until we start talking about Kentucky again, I have other states to hit that are out of that region. So I'm going to let you take this over. For a little
I
bit.
think everything else is in Kentucky at this point. That was my last. Yeah,
right.
that was the last one. So
All right. Well, I feel like you have 2 hours worth of Kentucky. Should we go to other states before we come back into Kentucky, or are we gonna be able to talk about Kentucky and still hit some of these other states?
Let's pick up some notes that I grabbed to the west.
To the west.
Yes,
Okay.
I think they used to hold a Triumph rally called the Ozark Raid. And I think, as a guy who's never been there, unfortunately, but talked to people about it, the Ozarks are another hidden gem and a little bit of mountainous part of Arkansas that most of us don't think about. The notes I took were the big ones to check out are Jasper Disaster Loop, Pigtail Scenic Byway, and Telemina Scenic Byway, where the knowledge of the internet was checking out that. But I know that the Ozark Raid used to be held out there, and everybody always told me that I would kill for the riding that's out that way. And it's pretty sparsely populated compared to where we've been mentioning for the most part.
I am in just based on the names of all 3 of those routes because those sound amazing. And if I'm not mistaken, there's an Ozark BDRX coming out.
That would be killer if that's the case. Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Oh, I hope I'm not spilling the beans on any of that, but I believe that there's some breaking news, maybe. But yeah, I think there's some. I think there's an Ozark BDRX in the works.
I'm under the impression that there was a great podcast the other day. I don't know how long ago it was. The Lowdown Show had the key members of the BDR organization on the show, and they talked about it. And it sounds like, and I know some people connected here locally as well, that are currently working on things, that I think they've finally expanded the volunteers for all of these places, and they begin to get, really connected to the super navigation nerds and people who spend a lot of time exploring. And I suspect that we might see, if I understand correctly, we're probably going to see a new BDR something released every year for a while.
Well, Kirk told us that's the plan.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, so
that's happening.
100% that's the case.
What else you got?
Kind of in that same region, while we're on the BDR thing, it passes through the Talladega National Forest in Alabama. Just east of Birmingham is the Talladega National Forest. It doesn't get a lot of press, and it's usually a ghost town, dude. It's a very pretty forest. There is something in there called the Talladega Scenic Drive. It's about 26 miles of paved scenic drive through Chiaha State Park, which is part of the Southeast BDR. So the Southeast BDR starts in Navarra, Florida, in the Panhandle, and goes up into Alabama through a bunch of stuff that I've actually never been on. But when it hits this Talladega National Forest, it's a really pretty area. The scenic drive you can do on any bike, any car, whatever. But there are a lot of dual sport and adventure routes that jump off into the woods. Alabama has as you might imagine, ton of dirt roads.
Yeah.
Even into Birmingham, which will bring me to my next point. But it's easy to make fun of Alabama, but it's a pretty state. It's an underrated state in terms of beauty, and it has a lot to offer. So I would say don't skip out on the Talladega National Forest.
I would rather eat grits and enjoy coffee with Southern folks on an Alabama beach than a Florida beach every day of the weekend and twice on Sunday. That's just how I am.
Man. And the Gulf Coast is where we're going to talk about Florida too. Don't feel left out, Florida, but the Gulf Coast is the beach I would go to 100 times over.
I grew up going to Gulf Shores, not a lot, but some. So my first ocean experiences were in Alabama, so it has a place in my heart for sure.
You know that Alabama doesn't touch the ocean, right?
Mobile does.
That's the Gulf.
We're gonna. Well, you're saying the Gulf, the Gulf of America is not the ocean. I mean, okay,
not yet. Not yet.
Some salty water, but whatever.
That's hilarious.
Am I firing back here?
Sure, you can fire back. Yeah, hit me, baby.
I'm gonna drag us back. So I mentioned 421. So near the Virginia border is the highest point in Kentucky, called Black Mountain, Kentucky on Kentucky Route 160.
It's a phenomenal selection.
It is a great road. It is an awesome overlook into Virginia. That whole area is, again, where I'm talking about, where it's neat to try to find one of the very few roads that heads southeast going south, because there's not many of them, and the switchbacks are killer.
Yeah.
So Black Mountain is also interesting because if you go north on 160 into Lynch, that whole area is an old coal town. It has the, I think it's the Kentucky Coal Museum is down that way. That was a wild place to be because, I mean, you can just look around and see how old the stuff is, and there's still quite a few when I was there. It's been many years now, but a lot of the abandoned, I don't think they were quite coal town houses and whatnot, but I mean, like, you can see the age on all the stuff there, and it is kind of a time machine to go through there. Fun fact, first time I've ever seen bear shit in the middle of the road was on Kentucky 160 on my way up to Black Mountain. I was like, yep, we're not the tallest or the highest point of the food chain here. So
my favorite thing about you mentioning that is that would pretty much allude to the fact that maybe there's been more than one time you've seen bear shit on the middle of a paved road.
Maybe.
I've seen bear shit on trails, but never in the middle of a paved road.
I think it's funny I mentioned that because I think it was 215. I was coming down off of the Blue Ridge Parkway with my dad, actually, and coming down 215 or whatever it was. And that was the first time I've actually seen a live bear. And it might be the only time I've ever seen a live bear, but they were crossing the road.
Oh, man. Interesting.
I catch cops. I don't see bears very often.
Huh.
So,
interesting.
What else you got in Appalachia?
In Appalachia, I got I guess we're kind of getting into the Kentucky area here, so I'm going to throw one out that I don't think you're going to throw out, which is the Kentucky Bourbon Trail.
Solid choice, sir.
I like the Kentucky Bourbon Trail,
and
yes, I do like bourbon, but I like the Kentucky Bourbon Trail for other reasons. Dude, these distilleries are in small little towns that there ain't nothing else going on around some of these distilleries. And I'll tell you what, these distilleries have put some money into their campuses, dude. The Maker's Mark campus, oh my God, dude, wild turkey. And the roads to get between some of these places are some of the best pavement in the country as far as I'm concerned, man.
It's super scenic, and it goes both ways, right? Because you are following a lot of creeks and stone walls and all that jazz. But, man, if you're not in a hurry, that whole experience, like, you could easily take a weekend and ride responsibly, but go visit, take some tours. Definitely. I have more on that, but please keep going. I don't want to steal your thunder.
Well, you can, first of all, I mean, ride responsibly, obviously. When you go to these distilleries, like, I've been to several of them. When you go to the Wild Turkey one, and part of the tour, like, take the tour. They bring you in the tour, they bring you to the rack houses, and they show you what's going on behind the scenes. And at the end of it, you get like half a shot of like a drink that you get to try. And it's not like you're sitting here getting loaded and tanked on drinks. You get a lot of times you get to go into the souvenir store, and they'll have like rare bourbons out there for you to purchase. Like, you go to Buffalo Trace and there's a line of people sometimes just waiting to buy some rare Buffalo Trace item, you know what I mean? So that's all a thing. But to your point, they're on creeks like all the time. You need creeks, you need the limestone to make the whiskey. So by default, they are in some incredible areas to go riding around in. And I know that the Buffalo Trace one was hit heavy with some of the flooding this past year. But, dude, so I don't know what the status is necessarily with all that, but these distilleries have pumped so much money into their campuses that they're beautiful. And it's, you can't be in a hurry. You go for a ride, you stop, you hang out for an hour, you go for a ride again. Make a weekend out of it. In the towns like Bardstown, it smells like mash when you ride through it, dude. You can smell it.
I was about to come through that.
Were you?
Couple things. First, everyone has their opinions, and my opinion sucks, so I'm sorry. I think Buffalo Trace is the best to see if you're into history and tours and all that other stuff. It is the oldest continuously operating distillery in the country. It is older than the United States itself. they had a license for medicinal reasons during Prohibition. So that distillery is particularly old. It does suck because that one is in Frankfurt. Like, you kind of go into town. Side note, go see Daniel Boone's gravesite because it's right down the street. So that's kind of a neat thing. So you can go to Buffalo Trace and Daniel Boone's gravesite at the same time. There's a neat little history. Anyway,
cool.
The other thing that's funny about that, and I just recently learned this, was we were there about 2 years ago taking pictures. All of the buildings are moldy. Like, you can spot a new aging barrel warehouse versus an old one because the old ones are covered in mold because of all of what you just mentioned. The sugar in the air because of all of the alcohol evaporating from the barrels causes everything to be coated in this particular black mold.
It's crazy.
Which doesn't hurt you, but it is a phenomenon that happens. And there's a much more elaborate name for it because I was not prepared to discuss this. I'm sorry, but look that stuff up. It's wild.
Yeah.
On the flip side, the ride to Wild Turkey and not Makers, it's the other one. What is east of there? It's near Castle and Key. Yeah, it's near Castle and Key.
Is on a fantastic road.
Yeah, because it's on the same road, and somebody's cursing at their phone right now, so I'm sorry. But those two on the southeast side, I think the riding is more interesting. If you make the trip all the way out past Four Roses and head out to Bardstown to see Jim Beam, that riding's good. A lot of people end up taking the Parkway out that way and stuff like that. But the eastern side is a lot more interesting, and you can go nuts, right? That you're talking about the official Bourbon Trail with the big names that we know of. It's the less known ones. There's one up in Maysville, Kentucky. Like, there's quite a few of them out there. So the
smaller ones, they don't have the money pumped into them, and they may not be on the official Bourbon Trail, but there are some really cool ones. We went to one made by Jefferson's Ocean where they're, the guy that was the CEO came out and gave us all a special drink because it was my friend's 40th birthday. I mean, he came out and toasted her with us, which was amazing, so cool stuff.
Woodford Reserve, that's what it was. Woodford and Wild Turkey, to me, are the ones that are on somewhat more interesting roads. Woodford Reserve, Wild Turkey, and Buffalo Trace is relatively interesting. As you start to get out west, it gets a little flatter. It's a little harder to connect it into fun stuff. So it just depends on what you're looking for.
Yep, so, agreed. I didn't think you were going to have that one, so I wanted to
you got
snag
me.
it.
You got me. That was a solid one. I'm going to do one that you know very well, and I might even solicit you to talk about it.
Uh-oh.
One of my absolute favorite roads that I do not get to ride very often because of the distance is Kentucky 66 from Juanita to Pineville, Kentucky. It's Pineville starts to take you out of the state and into Tennessee down there.
Yep.
I equate it to the Cherryhala Skyway. They are not the same. But if you just like just sweepers along the river that just go on forever, Kentucky 66 is that in spades to me. That once you get south into Juanita and head south, it's just a lonely, well-maintained 2-lane road that just keeps bending for miles. I forget how far it was. I told you that, I think, when I looked it up for you. It was like 30
that's the
40.
one you gave me to head on to hit the scramble, right? Yeah. That road is phenomenal. Yeah, dude, there's nothing out there, man. It's not like you're going to the Dragon and there's 600 other motorcycles. There's nobody out there. Nobody.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Like 30 plus miles off the top of my head. That is just it's lonely, but it's just these sweepers just seem to never end, and it is gorgeous. I bet in October it was absolutely killer.
Oh, dude, and there's a little creek that runs along it. And we stopped at some gas station in the middle of nowhere and had a chat with the guy that owned the place, and he's like, you guys must be going somewhere because you're not coming here. And we're like, dude, funny. It's that kind of place.
That's why I said I love that area of the classic Appalachian, yes, whatever, cold fields. They're killer, and Juanita starts to take you into that area. So I want to mention that one specifically. What else you got?
I like another one I think that you're not going to snag, which is Cumberland Falls State Park and Route 90, dude.
I've done what a horrible disservice to listeners because I love stopping there. So, No, 100%.
I love it, man. It's so dude, there's a motorcycle route over there that I couldn't find the name of it. Do you know what it's called off the top of your head? I'm putting you on the spot.
if Backroads of Appalachia didn't have something on their website about that, I'd be kind of shocked because that's kind of become their specialty. Because I actually think their office is in Lynch when I was talking about that earlier, or very close to there if I remember correctly.
Okay.
But what I was talking about Lynch, not Cumberland Falls. But man, yeah, these days, and we're all guilty of it, right? You know, I have the BRAP at this point, right? So more and more places are naming stuff like that. But there's
like
awesome
road signs that name it, you know. But yeah, dude, Cumberland Falls State Park, for anybody that doesn't know, Route 90 going basically jump from I-75 west on Route 90 to Cumberland Falls State Park. Cumberland Falls State Park is phenomenal. Yeah. It's gorgeous. And there's a big, huge waterfall, and you can see, I don't know how many times a year it happens, but there's the moon comes out, and because of the mist from the waterfall, right, there's a rainbow around the moon. And there's a little cafe in there with like a coffee shop and a sandwich that we stopped and had. When we came back from the scramble this year, we stopped there again. I showed Chase and Tyler because they'd never been, and it was just a great spot.
I'm glad you guys did that. Yeah.
Oh, it was awesome, dude.
Cumberland Falls is, what is it, largest waterfall in North America after Niagara Falls or something like that by volume.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, by volume, if I understand correctly. I forget what it is. Like average flow is like 4,000 cubic feet per minute or something like that. It was like some crazy stat. I looked it up one time.
Well, what's great about it is you don't have to, like, you get off the bike in the parking lot and you walk right there.
Yeah.
Like there's not really any hiking or anything. There's hiking you can do around it, but you can get off and go to a platform and look at it, you know?
Yeah, it's so convenient. And I mean, the parking lot, like, to me, it's like going to, well, for me, Kings Island, call it Six Flags, depending on where you live. Like, it is kind of like going to a theme park sometimes. If you get there,
it is a little bit.
Yeah, like, depending on what time of year it is in the summer, like, I've parked on the median with a bike before because there's nowhere else in there. So you know that now. First, I wanted to mention, like you said, like, they publish a moonbow schedule. Like, they publish the full moons because it is so regular. And that actually is a global phenomenon. It is the only place in the Western Hemisphere that you can routinely see a moonbow to the point where they publish the schedule. Yeah, the other place is like Angel Falls. It's on
that's
the African
right. I saw
continent,
that.
if I remember correctly. So it's a huge deal that here on the East Coast and in Kentucky you can actually see a moonbow. So it's a strange, was it astronomical phenomenon? Not really.
Yeah.
Also, there's a huge beach there. Have you been there?
Yeah, there is.
There's a massive beach. You're gonna see people in swim trunks and bikinis hanging out on the beach right there on the Cumberland River.
Yeah, dude.
Also, I'm so glad you brought this up. Not motorcycle destination, but if you know people or you pack right and you have the right stuff, you can go rafting. So I've been rafting on the Cumberland River there, so that you actually paddle up to the falls.
Yeah,
because you go in right there at that beach, like I was talking about. Paddle up to the falls, get some pictures with you in the falls on the raft, and then you go down river. They're mostly, they have a couple. They're mostly Class 2 rapids, but they have a few Class 3 rapids. So we had a guide. It's a great trip. If you're ever wanting to do rafting with the family, and you kind of want to get the kids kind of eased into it, I would say Nantahala River first. Yep. And then Cumberland Falls. Go to Cumberland River with the family. But that's a great rafting trip. Dude, that was a killer idea. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, man. That's why I said it, because it's killer.
Let's see here. In Kentucky, I'm going to give you the founder's favorite, the pavement route that I love the most at the rally that shall not be mentioned. So get your pen out right now.
Uh-oh.
So if you go to Red River Gorge, and you're riding a motorcycle and you only want to stay on pavement, you're going to remember these numbers. 1057, 52, 2016, 746, 1693, and 77. So
bingo.
Those are, that's exactly it.
That's like lottery numbers.
It's about a 100-mile loop, and those are my absolute favorite twisty roads right around River Gorge. Now, I did not mention, because this is the hidden gem in my opinion, Pilot Road is on that loop as well. And that's one that they paved recently, but it's one of those lane and a half deals down there. And that road is unmarked. It makes absolutely no sense. You got to watch out for the locals because it's not really wide enough to pass another car. And like I said, the turns don't make any sense or whatever. But that's like to me, if you want the Red River Gorge pavement experience that's outside of where most of the tourists are, with the exception of 77, those are the highlights. Now, there are some technically, you know how it is, like there's an intermediate road you have to be on for about 3 miles or whatever it is to connect something else. But yeah, if you look those up, those are my absolute favorites in that particular area.
Which one goes through the Nata Tunnel?
77.
77.
Yeah.
So you guys all have to go, because that, to me, I've ridden, I don't know all those numbers, but the Nata Tunnel is the business. I love that tunnel.
Yeah, the one-way tunnel. I recommend going on a motorcycle. I recommend going south on 77. And the route that I gave to you would have taken you in that direction. That you would have went north on 2016. You would have went north on 746, 1693. There's some other stuff up there anyway, but yeah, then south on 77 to come back down through. But no, the tunnel's easier to go through because you can see through it. If you're headed north into the tunnel, you have to kind of like go up and look around the corner and hope there's another car coming, and then back up if they're coming. So it's kind of a pain in the butt.
Gotcha.
What else you got?
Well, I'm going to just throw this at you. What else you got in the Red River Gorge area? Because I know you can sit here and talk about the Red River Gorge area for the next week and a half.
The only other one that I wanted to mention was Kentucky 89. Kentucky 89 goes from roughly London, Kentucky, all the way up to, it's past McKee. I'm trying to think, almost up to Ravenna. That road is also incredible. It's quite long. And it's in different states of repair. Like some of it's immaculate pavement, and then there's some spots that, there's some potholes and stuff in it now. It's rural America. So to me, it's a scrambler road where pavement not necessary to enjoy it, right? Like it's technically paved most of the time. It's never gravel, at least for more than about 10 feet. But
nice.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. And it's another, you've been on it, right? And there's some off-road stuff I want to mention in that area as well. And 89 links into a lot of those. So
okay, sweet, man.
Did you have pavement or off-road you want to talk about in that area?
I have nothing else in the Red River Gorge area. I have other stuff. I have one more landmark in Kentucky. So if you got stuff in this area, take it away for a minute.
All right. So there are 2 OHV areas that I want to mention. The first one is Redbird Crest. So when I talked about Kentucky 66, right there at the north end of Kentucky 66 is Redbird Crest OHV, part of Daniel Boone National Forest. You have to spend $15 to get a day pass to go ride it, but it's like 100+ miles of OHV and side-by-side stuff. But there used to be, I don't know if it's still the case, it used to be that there was like a 50-inch minimum, and I think there used to be some motorcycle-only sections. So Redbird Crest, which I've not ridden myself because of the time it takes to get there versus some other options. But everyone who's ever been there raves about it, and everyone, to include locals, tell me nobody's there. So if you want to go feel secluded and do dirt bike stuff, you can go do that. I do recommend a plate for some of that because I do think there's a couple spots where you have to get on the pavement. That's another discussion. I'm going to tie in with this because this is the same as 421. 421 goes by S Tree Campground. S Tree is southeast of Berea, Kentucky. Berea is right on the highway. So when I go there, that's the way I get there. They have, and I'm going to tie this in. Let me rewind. S Tree and Turkey Foot campgrounds are connected by Sheltoe Trace OHV. So you can ride 16 miles between the two of them, and I think a mile at the most is on pavement. I think it's like half a mile or whatever to connect those two trails. Again, 50-inch OHV only, so only four-wheelers and dirt bikes. And then there's another, they call it the Renfro Loop inside of S Tree Campground to make it a total of 23 miles that you can do. The really interesting thing is we rode it considerably this year, and they had so many tree falls in the past couple years that whoever trimmed it clearly rode a dirt bike, because I can't see any evidence of a four-wheeler that's been through there in a long time. Wow, so cool. Right now, there's arguably motorcycle-only OHV, and I'm pretty sure you can ride both of those places as long as you have a legal plate. I don't think you have to have a. I don't think you have to have a permit for that one. Was there one more? Danny Boone Backcountry Byway. We mentioned the BDRs. We'd be remiss to not mention Danny Boone Backcountry Byway.
Totally agree.
Right now, so let me quick history lesson. The byway is very similar to the BDR, except it's more of a local focus, and they're basically trying to capture every primitive dirt road available in the area and connect them to one another to get them under this umbrella, so that charities are working directly to keep these open. You know, BDR is taking you on a tour and helping promote commerce, which is a good thing. The Danny Boone Backcountry Byway is doing the same mission, but instead of doing a longer trip, it's basically creating these loops in the local area. So they went from having 100 miles in 2016 to, as of today, they have 800 miles of riding opportunities.
Wow.
And then it'll be over 1,000 as of May. When they do their fundraiser that I'm helping with in May, I'm leading some rides in May. They will have over 200 miles added to it when that happens. So it'll now be
impressive.
over 1,000 miles. What, to me, the other thing that's so impressive about it is there are a lot of trips that you have to take that it's 1,000 miles. So you got to get to the beginning and you got to get to the end. The byway makes it so you can kind of cloverleaf. Like you can pick a couple places and stay. The total length of the byway right now, I think, is less than 80 miles across. When they get the new extension, it'll be close to 113 miles, I think, is how far it's going to be across. But think about that. Like, from top to bottom, as a crow flies, you will never be more than 100 miles from the very beginning or, you know, like the very top. And you can start...
That's a high concentration of dirt.
Yeah, and that's the idea, right? Like, obviously, it's why I hold a rally in that area, and it's growing. But I'm just saying that it's an option for if you're looking at BDRX type stuff because you don't have a week to take vacation, you can go ride Danny Boone Backcountry Byway. Last one, which is the other end of that, the Kentucky Adventure Tour. So instead of a BDR, it is basically a dual sport tour of Kentucky, which includes West Virginia, and Tennessee. It touches all those states. That's 1,000 miles. The guy who put it together, Jeff Stess, is episode 2 of Moto Adventure Unscripted. Go back and listen to that. He can do a deep dive on that for you. But all those are destinations in that area. And I think I have wiped out my Kentucky offerings.
Oh, my goodness. I have something in Kentucky that you have not mentioned,
Please,
dude.
hit me.
Owensboro, Kentucky.
Okay.
You know who's from Owensboro, Kentucky?
Go on.
Nikki Hayden.
Good catch. Yeah.
The Nikki Hayden Memorial Statue in Owensboro, Kentucky. So you're going to go west a little bit. You're going to get up on the river. I've actually never been there before, and I'm not the biggest road racing guy in the world, but I think it's pretty cool, and I have it on my list of things to go hit one day. So more of a landmark than a route to get to somewhere, but that's worth going to for anybody that's visiting the area.
Yeah,
I actually had a friend of mine that was just there randomly that's into motorcycles and didn't realize that was there, and I told him, and he went and took his picture with it for me, so it was pretty cool.
Very cool. I mean, Land Between the Lakes, I'm sure people listening right now know that area. I do not know it, so unfortunately I can't highlight that stuff, but there's some really awesome stuff in western Kentucky, so it's worth looking that up. I mean, there's Land Between the Lakes rally and stuff like that from the adventure stuff, so there's definitely to that. Like I said, we're the folks hosting, and I want to speak to what I know the best, and then make sure we talk about things we don't miss. But please leave us the comments for other stuff anywhere near what we've touched. What else you got?
Totally, man. Well, if you go a little bit more west than even Owensboro, Kentucky, and head up over to Paducah, and then go up into something that I randomly found when I was headed to Colorado one year, and I had no idea it was there, and I don't know if you do. But there's a little town called Metropolis, Illinois, just on the other side. Have you ever heard of it?
I have heard of this place. Go on.
Dude, it took me by total surprise. So I'm driving. I had my bike in the back of my truck, and I drive in, and I go, Metropolis, Illinois? What the heck? That's crazy. Dude, they have the world's largest Superman statue there. Everything there is Superman. Look, it's not a place you're going to. Again? It's so crazy. I know it feels like that. It feels like something Ted would give us on the Jeopardy thing. Yep. Oh my gosh, dude. And they have a Superman festival every year, I learned. So you go in there and it's like everything Superman. And one day I'm going to go to that festival, but you got to go get your picture taken with the world's largest Superman statue. It's crazy. It's just one of those things that, where else are you going to find this, besides just traveling through America? And there it is.
That's, I mean, there's a whole Roadside America thing, hence Ted's Jeopardy. There's another place in Illinois. I went there and I can't remember the name of it. It's the spring opener, like for the Iron Bar community. And I've been there and now I'm blanking on that event. And it's the, yeah, that's the thing. Like there's nothing remarkable about the riding. There's a lot remarkable about the community and the motorcycles that show up. Right. So that's what's going on there.
Totally, man.
All right. Let's see here. I've got Ohio stuff.
Ooh.
I think that's. I wanted to throw a couple Ohio things out there because we've covered
that. That'll lead me to Michigan. So
yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm going to do a shout out to the IMAC real quick because we were talking about BDRs and riding over there. The Infamous Monongahela Adventure Trail. Check that out. I don't know enough about it, but I think we're going to potentially have a guest on the show to talk about that here in the near future. So since we were talking BDRs, but. I think talking about the Triple Nickel and Big Muskie Bucket are must do's.
Yeah.
Have you ridden the Triple Nickel?
I have. Yeah. We rode it on our way up to. We went to AIM Expo when it was in Columbus, and we hit 7 states from Atlanta to Ohio to hit it, and Triple Nickel was how we finished things off getting up into Columbus. So it was a hell of a ride to get up there and back, dude. But yeah, Triple Nickel for sure. The bucket thing I'd like you to expand on for sure, because I've not actually don't remember having seen that myself.
It's been a while since I've done Triple Nickel, but more or less it's, just outside of Zanesville, which is east of Columbus on I-70. And you head south and it's almost to the Ohio River. I mean, it goes a long way. And it's a lot like Kentucky rolling hills, and I think we've mentioned on the show before, the pavement is in lots of mixed conditions, especially being that many counties and that far. The biggest issue with the Triple Nickel is that as the road rises to the crest of a hill, it tends to change direction. So you can't trust the power lines, the tree cuts, nothing, because you could be headed over, you could be turning right, going up over the top of a hill to immediately change direction and go the opposite direction and not fly off.
A lot of Kentucky and Ohio is like that. I have discovered, dude.
Like if you're on a bike, it'll get away from you if you don't know where you're going. You have to watch out for clippings, but more importantly, like farm equipment and parked cars and gravel throughout the road and whatnot. Like the road is incredible, but I think half of the excitement of that road is you don't see the obstacles, you can't see through the turns. Like you're riding on the edge of your seat if you start, if you're not leaving much in the tank for skill and ability at that point, you're getting pretty risky because anything can happen. Last time I rode it, it was chip sealed for many miles. For folks that aren't used to that vernacular, they essentially spray tar down miles of the road and then just drop pea gravel on it, and they call that chip seal, or tar and chips as people call it. So it's kind of like riding on gravel because the first inch or so of it is not attached to anything. So if
interesting.
I mean, I've been on a big cruiser ride and all of a sudden it's just chip seal everywhere. So Triple Nickel is a lot of fun, and as usual, there's a million awesome stuff that's around Triple Nickel that you can turn into a great day trip. So you can, go check it out from the south end of the state. You can come into Zanesville and explore. The cool thing was Big Muskie is gone, but Big Muskie Bucket is all that remains. So the largest drag line ever built was in eastern Ohio. So a lot of folks don't realize Ohio has a lot of oil and a lot of coal, or at least used to. There are still oil fields in Ohio, and there might even be coal, I don't know. But Texas and Alaska catch all the news and whatnot, but these are the first places that people ever did in the States to do oil exploration, right? Pennsylvania, all that stuff. So they used to have strip mines in eastern Ohio. And so that's what it was, is it's a giant bucket attached to this essentially mobile crane that just drags this bucket across the ground and removes earth. This bucket is so big that 2 Greyhound buses fit in it. So guys on dual sports that know what they're doing will actually like ramp up the teeth in the front, and they're steep, right? Like I don't have the guts to take my bike up there, but I've seen guys do it where they've got pictures of their bikes in there. There's a staircase. You got to climb 3 or 4 stairs to get in it, but they have a staircase there, so you can walk into it and take pictures with your friends in there.
Heck yeah.
I can't remember the name of the road off the top of my head, but the road to get it there out there off of Triple Nickel is a fun road as well. But yeah, you got to go see Big Muskie because it's roadside America and it's right.
Kind of mad that I was there and didn't see it, to be honest with you.
No,
so.
it was a to-do list for me. 2016, after I got my scrambler, we rode out there on the highway and then went in Zanesville and I saw Big Muskie and then had GPS issues and found a covered bridge I've never seen since, and I still don't know where we were. Like, so there's Coshocton County, like, and this is Kane Wagner and Brad McFadden's area. Like, we're starting to talk about Greater Ohio Adventure Trail. I don't know if you want me to just segue straight into that or not. If you had more for Ohio.
Hey man, no, I don't have anything for Ohio for Ohio other than your house. So,
so since we're talking Ohio, so I mentioned Greater Ohio Adventure Trail, which is now over 1,000 miles. So it starts in Aberdeen in the south end of Ohio, obviously, because Brad, who put it together, lives in Dayton. He's been on the show. You can go look up that episode. Please do. Brad McFadden. And it goes all the way north to a town east of Cleveland, right? Like it goes across the entire state. So now there's a 1,000-mile adventure trail through Ohio that you can go do. The portions that I know run near the Southern Ohio Adventure Loop, which I've debated whether or not I want to do a full show on that. But that's where people have already mentioned on the show, I cut my teeth on it. You and I've ridden part of it together.
Yep.
But the Southern Ohio Adventure Loop is roughly 200 miles, a little more if you do some of the bonus stuff, right here in basically Portsmouth to Hillsborough-ish area, depending on how you look at it. I totally blanked out on the name of the town. So
podcast brain.
Podcast brain hit me hard just now after all the places I mentioned. That's Brainerd. That's not the word for it. But anyway, starts with a B, and I'm totally losing it on live on air. What was the other one from Ohio? I'm sorry. I mentioned the Southern Ohio Adventure Loop. I mentioned the goat. Oh, I wanted to talk about pavement. One of the, I don't know if we want to call them hidden gems. There's lots of Appalachian Ohio that's incredible. I mean, you could even Interstate 77, which is more West Virginia than is Ohio. Like some of that stuff in eastern Ohio is incredible. So I would love to hear people that know that. And southern and southwestern Ohio, which I clearly know better, Georgetown to Aberdeen, which is near US 68, which is easy to check out. Probably, I think it's the only, I don't know if it's the only rated gold road in Ohio, but it's definitely the longest. It's about 12 miles of curves. Ohio 763 runs into Aberdeen. I forget, did you and I ride that one together? I think I did take you on that one.
I don't recall, to be honest.
I filmed some of that. It's on my episode of the, I think it's the Himalayan. If you watch my YouTube video, the Himalayan 450, I'm riding that particular road. I love that. But in that area, same thing. Get your pencils out if you're listening and taking notes for places to ride. Ohio 763, North Pole Road, Old 68, Ohio 221, and Ohio 505. That whole section where the Ohio River has cut, through the hills there, there's all these side creeks and draws and whatnot, and there are all these old, Ohio paved roads that nobody's on. Like, you can seriously move it, right? I don't even know what the speed limit is on 763 if it's even posted, but like nobody's on that, but maybe some locals, and as I've discovered, goats and chickens.
Nice.
Same story applies from Triple Nickel, right? Like some of these roads are in immaculate condition, and then you cross a county line or whatever happened, and now it's marginally paved. So be careful. But yeah, those roads are some of my favorite when I actually want to play around in Ohio.
Sweet, dude. Give us something to look forward to in Ohio.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No way, man. It's your home state, dude. It's well, I touched briefly on stuff in Georgia, but there's definitely things that I want to circle back to and revisit at some point in time, But yeah, what else you got in Ohio? Anything
that's
good?
it. No, I figured if we're going to do it, we're going to wipe that out before, because we're running a little not long in the episode, but I got a few more. What else you got?
Well, we're headed north, and I kind of feel like hitting some of the things that I know about in Michigan, because that's my second home. So what do you think?
I have 3 items in Michigan that I know very little about, so we'll see what you got.
Well, let's see if they cross over. My first one, I'm going to head from the south to the north, right? And my experience in Michigan is all upon the Lake Michigan side to me, and there's not much over on the Detroit side for riding. But did you know that there's a place on the East Coast you can actually ride a motorcycle through a sand dune, Dakar style, to Lake Michigan?
I have that marked as a favorite on my Google Maps, and I could not tell you where that is.
Silver Lake Dunes, man. Silver Lake Dunes is about halfway between Muskegon and Ludington, which is my mom and dad's hometown. They met there as high school sweethearts. Yeah. So my uncle actually has a place. He's been going to Silver Lake for, I don't even know, dude, as old as he is, 60 years or whatever. You get out on Silver Lake and you've got everything from side-by-sides to dirt bikes with paddle tires. Yeah. You are not riding a G. I mean, unless you're like, Adam Ryman or something, you're getting paddle tires and you're riding and you have a flag, and you're going out in these dunes. You can literally ride it all the way to Lake Michigan on the dunes. It's an incredible place, dude. I've
seen some pictures because I marked that. I was like, if I go up there, because I really want to go up there. I've got some friends that are up there. We got one of the listeners.
Man. Let's do it, dude. A lot, so. It's phenomenal, man. But after you hit Silver Lake, you ride north on 31. You go through the town of Ludington, like I told you about. And you keep riding north, and you end up on a road, which is one of my favorite roads in the entire country, called Michigan 22.
I was going to ask you about that.
M22.
Yeah, the stickers.
You've heard about it?
Oh, the stickers on every car in Dayton. It's crazy.
They are. Yeah. I had a sticker on my 950, dude. There's a store called M22 that they've marketed the shit out of that sells all this merch for whatever reason, and we ate it up like tourists, dude. Like, I loved it. Michigan 22 is phenomenal. It goes north and south along the lake, and there's a spot called Inspiration Point about halfway up to probably like on your way up to what's it called, Traverse City or whatever. Yep. Dude, you get out of your car and you're climbing an elevation, which sounds crazy, but you are. Lake Michigan is down a cliff like you would see like on the West Coast or something on the Pacific Coast Highway. You stop and there's this deck, and it's like, I don't know how many levels of decking there are. 6. You got to climb it. I mean, it's some stairs, dude. Man, the water is turquoise blue. It looks like the Caribbean, and it's freaking Lake Michigan, dude. I've been going to Michigan since I was a baby, and I've never seen anything like it till I discovered it. So you ride up Michigan 22, Inspiration Point. You go up to Sleeping Bear Dunes National Lakeshore, which is another, you can't ride these sand dunes, but dude, me and my wife and my son climbed these sand dunes. We only got halfway. We never even saw the lake. Evidently on the other side of the dunes, on the lake side, there are posted signs like, if you climb down this and you can't get back up, it's like a $3,000 like, we're coming to get you fee, or something. It's a crazy amount. So it's very interesting, very steep.
I think I just
really
saw,
good riding.
You said that just now, and I'm like, wait a minute. I think I saw one of those AI Facebook posts talking about that. It's like, if you can't make this, then you have to pay a fine or whatever. Yeah,
it's real signs out there, and like, they do, like, they pull people out of that thing all the time, man. But once you take that, you can ride on over into Traverse City, which I could honestly just get through Traverse City and be done with that place. Then you jump on 31 to 119 through something they call the Tunnel of Trees, which is like...
That's on my list,
Oh, dude, the Tunnel of Trees is phenomenal. My dad hated it. He was on his Harley, and like, it's like you're on the edge of the lake, but there's trees, so you can't necessarily see the lake all the time. But it's like 1.5 lanes. There's no center lane or center paint. There's paint on the sides, if I remember correctly. And I mean, it's twisty, dude, and you're in and out. Literally, it's a tunnel of trees the whole way up. It's gorgeous, man, and it was a lot of work for him on the Harley with the turns, to be honest. But I was having a great time, and it ends at a little place called the Legs Inn, which is like, I don't know what it is, like this old hunting lodge. Like, you just have to Google the pictures of it. There's like antlers, and like, it's food, like great food, a cool bar, a great hangout. We rode that on our way up into the UP, me, my dad, and my brother, when we were doing a big, huge trip. So yeah, man, you hit all that stuff and then hit the Mackinac Bridge, or the Mackinac Bridge. And, that's a story in and of itself, to hit the Mackinac into the UP. So
the don't look down
don't look down.
Don't grab the bars too tight.
Well, the funny thing is, for those that don't know, the bridge it's a 2 lanes each direction, and the center 2 lanes are steel grate that you can look down and you can see the freaking water, whatever, hundreds of feet below you. The outside lanes are solid. You can't see through it. Well, when we went up there, as is common during the riding season, they were doing road work, and they forced you onto the grate.
Yeah.
Which excited the crap out of me because I'm riding up there and I got my phone and I'm like taking pictures. I'm literally riding, looking down through the grates. You know, my dad is absolutely white knuckling this thing. Yeah. He is terrified, dude, and I'm dying laughing, you know. And they did the same thing to us on the way back. Like, there's no other way. You have to go across the bridge, you know. And sure enough, they did the same thing to us. So he was freaking out, dude. But yeah, it's something to behold. When you see that bridge in person, it's just it's an engineering marvel, really.
I have a shout out because I'm not entirely sure where it is, but the Michigan Tomahawk Trail System, Jason Wynn, has been a guest on the show, host a podcast as well, and he says that's like their summer vacation, that they love to go up there in the summer because Michigan isn't nearly as hot as it is in, you know, Appalachia most of the time.
Yeah, man.
So
it when we went up there, it was 90 degrees, and we were looking at Canada across Lake Superior. So that's a good rule, but not always true.
Not. Yeah, as we all know now, right? I joke that all these people moved to Ohio for cost of living, and I'm like, hey, how's that snow working out for you? We got record snowfall the other day. You liking that?
Totally right, man. That's exactly it, dude. You know, and there's lots of stuff in the UP too.
That's where I was headed.
Yeah. Well, what you got on the UP that was on your list?
Right, like looking up, doing some of the research for some of this stuff, and people talk about the Lake Michigan Loop. You know, go up the way you were talking about, and then go in through the UP, and then come back down the other side through Wisconsin and all that stuff. So everyone has just said that the UP is like Michigan is two states.
It is.
I am glad you mentioned that, and I mentioned that trail system as well. That lots of folks think of sand on the West Coast, but Michigan has killer sand here on the East Coast. So it is a pretty convenient opportunity that if you want to go ride sand, and in this case, potentially do it in cooler climates, that is available on tap. My neighbor, who I still ride with quite a bit and raced with some, he goes up there in the summer, and he, you know, just talks about how awesome the sand is, and he's apparently done enough miles up there that he gets confused down here in the mud. So there's
really
that whole thing. Yeah, just, you know, you get used to what you get used to, and it's confusing when you totally change terrain types, right?
Yeah, man, absolutely, dude. When you're looking at stuff in the UP, did you ever come across Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore?
That sounds grossly familiar, but I'm not gonna say.
Oh man, it was so cool, dude. It's up on Lake Superior, and there's it's like cliffs, right? And there's arches, like you would see on the Pacific Coast Highway or something. We stayed in a town called Munising right outside of there, and you can take a ride on a catamaran or something and go up against all this stuff, and just there's trees that their entire root system is exposed in, like, you know, like a bonsai tree or something, like going between the two crevices of the cliff. And it's awesome, man. It's awesome. The UP is not to be denied.
Yeah, there's some really wild stuff going on up that way. I don't have anything else for Michigan.
Nah, me neither.
But I wanted to mention the Dusty Buzzard Adventure Loop and the Southeast Indiana Loop. Those are two other adventure ride opportunities.
Sweet.
We had Mike Waterford on the show to talk about Dusty Buzzard Adventure Loop. I've not talked with anybody about the Southeast Indiana Loop. However, I've raced cross country in Southeast Indiana. Southeast Indiana actually has a lot of hidden gems. Like the Indiana Cross Country Racing Series has got on some properties that are excellent. They're, you know, nice and hilly, and creeks and wild stuff to ride. So most of Indiana is corn, but there are some really awesome hidden gems down toward the Ohio River that make it interesting, similar to what I said about the Ohio pavement riding and whatnot. So that stuff's good.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when I asked you Florida or Indiana and you said Indiana, I was a bit surprised. So, yeah, man, if there's good stuff in Indiana to know about other than the cornfields I'm used to driving through as a kid my whole life, you know, now's the time.
I mean,
Florida
is a swamp. Like, let's remember that I am not the top of the food chain there at all.
Yeah,
there are international snakes. Yes, international snakes have traveled to Florida.
That's true.
They didn't ask to be there, but that's where they are now.
They didn't ask to be there. Yeah, no talking snakes. Nope, not at all, man. That's hilarious.
I think I am almost out of ammunition here, so
Oh my gosh.
tell me what you got, man.
Well, dude, while we're talking about Florida, like I'll just have to hit a few
Please.
key points.
Oh, I got
man.
one more, that's
I
right.
think we're in bonus time.
Yes.
You want your one more before we hit Florida?
No, because you do Florida, and then I imagine we should give some shout outs to some certain things in the Northeast, and then
Yep.
I'm about out.
Yep, cool, man, cool. Florida, I've spent a lot of time in as well because of where I'm at, and we go down there when it's too cold. You probably the most popular ride through Florida is A1A to Key West at mile marker 0. So you go to St. Augustine, you jump on A1A, ride the entire coast down through Daytona, all the way down through Miami, right around Miami, and then into the Keys, right? So you jump on the Keys. The Keys are one of those things that you do once on a motorcycle, and I think you're good. Yeah. You know, my wife and I rode the 950 down there through the Keys, and like it's fine. And you know, I'm kind of feeling like maybe I'll do it again sometime, but it really is like a do it once kind of thing, and you did it. 7 Mile Bridge though, 7 Mile Bridge is incredible. You get out there on that open water, and the only thing there is you and a 2-lane bridge.
To do that, yeah.
It's really cool, dude, and that alone is about worth the trip. You know, Key West, I can give or take Key West itself, but all the little islands off of that road are incredible. Bahia Honda State Park is another one of my favorite things going down through the Keys. It's the old bridge had collapsed, or I think the hurricane may have taken it, but it's a really neat place. You can actually camp right on the water, right there. Water's crystal clear, as you can imagine, and
because it's the
a
Gulf,
neat ride.
not the ocean, or is it the ocean?
On one side, I think it is. On one side, dude, you know there's a difference.
Which side of Key West is in the ocean?
Appalachia or Appalachia?
No, my goodness, stop it.
So yeah, that's a big thing there. And then what we used to do is her parents and my parents used to live in Naples, which is on the Gulf, the other ocean side. And there's a road called the Tam-Miami Trail that goes east-west. It basically goes from Naples to Miami. And yeah, okay, it's a straight ass road, pavement, not much going on, but there's an offshoot called Loop Road, and it's pretty lengthy, and it's a dirt road, and it's pothole filled, and it's alligator filled, and you can take that on an adventure bike.
You can take that. I'm not sure I'm doing
cool. You'll take it. They'll move out of your way. Those alligators they don't want you, man. Dude, the alligators will literally be on the road sunning themselves and like moving off the road while you're riding through. It is the crazy, because there's not a whole lot of people on this road, right? It's cool, man. Loop Road off the Tam-Miami Trail. It's a good time. And we hit the Ocala National Forest a lot. You know, when we would go down for bike week all the time, we would stay in the Ocala National Forest, get your fill of riding the sand. It's another great place for riding sand. You ride it for 2 days, you're done with that whole idea, but it's fun to do every once in a while. So, you know, there's other things in Florida, but those are the highlights for me.
So I'm thinking, let's see here. We talked a little bit about South Carolina. Actually, I should have said the SCAR, South Carolina Adventure Loop. Should mention
SCAR
that.
for sure has to get mentioned.
Yep, should mention that. Oh, all right. That's all. Like I'm trying to remember. Like, did we miss any adventure rides on the East Coast? And if there's big ones that I didn't say yet, please put us in the comments so I can add that to my personal list to go with that. I wanted to mention something in New Hampshire, but first I also wanted to mention I've been to Hoyle Crest, the highest point in Maryland. So if you're traveling in that, I just realized I totally forgot an entire road down here as well. If you're going from Kentucky, West Virginia, Virginia, up into Virginia or West Virginia / Pennsylvania, US 119, man, I'm afraid that I got delete happy somewhere along the lines when I was setting my note out today. Because I actually had the list written somewhere. Yeah, US 119 from Pineville, Kentucky to Sandy Township, Pennsylvania. Yep, it's still there. That road is another one like 421 that it is a state road, and there are portions of it that aren't that impressive, but lots of that road is absolutely gorgeous. Like parts of it are 4 lanes, parts of it are 2 lanes, but it goes a long way through there. And then I took lots of that when I was headed up to Conserve the Ride, which is in that area that we talked about earlier. That's in State College, Pennsylvania. But on the way there, I stopped at highest point in Maryland, which was Hoyle Crest, and then the highest point in Pennsylvania, which is Mount Davis. Wanted to throw those out there, that those are close together, and they're in that same area and we're checking out. But Pennsylvania is loaded full of awesome stuff, which I've not seen. I'm sure folks would talk about visiting Hershey, Pennsylvania, and the Harley dealership, and or Harley factory, and there's a lot of other beautiful stuff in Pennsylvania.
And the Pine Barrens, I think, is there, if I'm not mistaken.
That's New Jersey.
Is that there? That's New Jersey. Okay,
New
gotcha.
Jersey. Yeah, and that's definitely a destination that people should write down. We're toward the end here, so I apologize to everybody, but yeah, Pine Barrens, New Jersey. What else do you got?
Well, the truth is these areas here in New England we're just not as familiar with.
Yeah.
But I know that, like, again, shout out to Tyler for hooking me up with the White Mountain National Forest and the Kankamagus Highway. No idea if I said that right. Both in Maine.
Yep.
Both look incredible. He's been on both of them and loved both of those things. Acadia in Maine. My buddy Cushman always talks about Acadia. You got the Mount Washington in New Hampshire.
That was the one that I was going to say. It was like, hey.
Is that it?
I had a friend. It's funny. The guy who introduced me to North Carolina 281 had a sticker on one of his hard bags, and it said, this motorcycle has climbed Mount Washington. And I'm like, what is that all about? And he's like, you don't know what Mount Washington is? I'm like, no. And it's like, I forget exactly. I don't even think it's the highest point, or is it the highest point in New Hampshire? I forget what it is.
Beats me, dude.
Mount Washington is a big deal because of the weather changes. Like, it's a very dangerous place because it is one of those highest peak in northeastern United States. Yeah, 6,300 feet in New Hampshire.
Wow.
But it's known because that's a place where the weather collides. Where that eastern coastal air meets the midwestern jet stream. And so temperatures and wind speeds have broken some records on Mount Washington. And so that's why it's kind of a big deal, because they have I don't know if they have a hill climb event, but Laconia Bike Week is featured in that area. So you get a chance to go up Mount Washington as a motorcycle event and whatnot. So this stuff to look into.
Yeah.
I've had Mount Washington on my list forever to go see, because I'm like, no, I want to do this, because again, I'm a high point mountain dude, so whatever that is.
Well, if you like high points, dude, then the Adirondacks is the last thing that I really wanted to talk about, because that is also on my list. Never been in upstate New York. 300 lakes and 46 high peaks. Yeah. At 6 million acres, it's the largest publicly protected area in the lower 48. That's what I learned with Google AI. Yeah, hey, Google AI told me, so if it's bullshit, somebody let me know. But that's what it said, and I wouldn't doubt it. I don't know. 6 million acres is a little bit hard to wrap my head around, but I have several friends, as I'm sure you do, that have ridden through there, and to go, I can't imagine a better way to spend the fall than to go up in upstate New York and the Adirondacks into the Finger Lakes and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
My in-laws went up there in their RV this past year, and they just loved it. That whole area just looks gorgeous, and I'm really sorry I can't do it justice by explaining it, because I've never been there, but it looks phenomenal.
Yeah, my buddy Rick, who's also been on the show, one of the earlier episodes, New Hampshire, there's lots of gorgeous stuff in New England. Unfortunately, it doesn't always catch the press, so there's that.
Yeah, man.
What else you got? Anything?
Dude, the very last thing that I've got is international, baby. And it's in Canada, the Trans-Labrador Highway.
Yeah.
That's East Coast, right? We're getting out there. But this is the last thing I wanted to mention. I didn't realize the Trans-Lab had been paved fully in 2022. They finished paving the entire thing.
Interesting.
So it consists of two main parts. You got Route 500 and Route 510. You got to watch out for moose, and you better fill your fuel tank up on the way. It's really, really remote, is my understanding, even though it's now paved. Again, one of these things I've had several friends do, but always been on my list. A little bit bummed that it's all paved now. I did not realize that till I was reading up on it. So Trans-Labrador Highway, man, is the very final thing. To me, that would be the biggest ride on this list, in my opinion. There's so many good things we talked about, and I'll be honest, I didn't even mention everything.
Sure.
So I could do this for another 4 hours.
No, there's no doubt about it. There's tons to see, and I'm looking forward to comments and feedback from everybody to let us know, like, hey, how did you miss this big one? I'm gonna slap my forehead. I have no doubt that's the case, but
yeah, totally. And thanks for bearing with us, everybody. That was a long episode, but I told Drew before we started recording this that I was really looking forward to this episode. So it was everything I wanted it to be personally.
No, I'm glad for me, it's usually about the roads and the scenery, but I love how you threw in the different restaurants and key roadside pieces to check in. That's definitely the key.
Yep.
Last closing word, sir?
Not for me, man. Get out there and ride. That's what I intend to do as soon as it stops freaking icing here. So let's do it. 2026 is your year, baby.
With that, we will catch the listeners down the road.